Good evening, good evening, good evening. How you guys doing? All right. Sorry, I am running a little bit behind. You notice that I kept having to reschedule. This has been a very, 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 very busy day. Nevertheless, I thank the Lord for busyness. I thank the Lord for business. Let me know that you're here. I'm making sure that I pull up the scriptures I want to pull up. Um, let's see here. As you guys begin to enter the room, do me a favor. Be sure to like, share, and engage. Engage, engage, engage. We're gonna learn. We're going to have fun, and it's going to be great, powerful, and I'm believing God to speak to me and through me in this. Forgive me, guys. Like I said, I'm pulling up the scripture that I want to start off with so we can get started. So that we can get started. All right, all right, all right. We're going to be talking about being desperate for marriage. Being desperate for marriage. And crazy thing is, the one thing that I wanted to pull up, I forgot because I'm running like crazy. And that was something I saw on Microsoft. Microsoft have its new, so I have a Microsoft computer upstairs because it's this Apple. Hey, yeah. I have to take classes for this, but I have a Microsoft computer upstairs, and so when you open up Microsoft, it always gives you this page full of news, like all of these different things that are taking place, or what have you. So a lot of times, I'm motivated or inspired, sometimes even triggered by the news. And when I say triggered, I'm not talking about this the Gen Z type of trigger, like, oh my God, they hurt my feelings. I'm talking about the type of trigger where I'm like, okay, the saints need a word. The saints need this, or what have you. And that's what motivates me many times to come out and do these lessons. And so I came across one and I sincerely apologize. It was on the front page news. I think it was today, or it could have been when I left open from yesterday, because they change it every day. But I'm pretty sure it was today where this woman, I think her family had been killed. I could be wrong, but it was something to that effect where her family had been either killed or assaulted by her ex-lover, her ex-boyfriend. And I can say that it it triggered me. It triggered me. And what I mean by triggered me, it annoys me when I see that people have to die because of the idolatry of other people. Because other people are now not out here doing relationships God's way, and then you end up getting mad. So a lot of times what families do is, like a mother or father, they're so afraid of your idolatry that whenever you come home with a man and he's broken and he's not the right one for you, a lot of times they hush their mouths. Now, they may speak to you, they may say something to you about it, but then when you go to bucking and sometimes even threatening them, a lot of times they just back off and let you have what you want out of fear of losing you. But they end up losing you anyhow, because they can end up losing you to death, or in many cases they can even lose their lives, because now the man is mad at the fact, because if you're wrestling with idolatry, chances are you went to that guy and you said to him, my mama don't approve of us, I went off on her, I cut, because you know what you're doing, you're offering your parents up as a sacrifice. A lot of people don't understand instinctual idolatry, and I won't say instinctual idolatry. I will say that idolatry is instinctual. And in idolatry, there are behaviors that are relatively instinctual, because one, it is a fruit of the flesh, but or work of the flesh, but there are behaviors that are instinctual that you will do, including offering people up in an attempt to hold on to somebody that you weren't supposed to hold on to. This is why I say like and share, because I guarantee you it is so common nowadays. I guarantee you there is somebody in your life, on your page, somebody that's affiliated with you that needs this word, that needs this word, because it is a dangerous thing to fall into the lap of idolatry. It is a dangerous thing to be an idol worshiper. And a lot of times nowadays, we don't identify it as idol worship, because when we hear idol worship, one of the ways that we excuse ourselves, we write ourselves a pink slip, or we give ourselves a green light, is because we try to imagine idol worship as having this golden calf and falling down on your knees and laying prostrate to the ground and bowing before it and lifting your head up and bowing again. And that is a form of idol worship. But there are many forms of idol worship. There are many forms of idol worship. And it is so common nowadays. Why do you think we have BBLs? BBLs are people that are saying, it's hard for me to get somebody to worship, to stay with me, and I can't figure out why. So maybe it's because I lack the butt cheeks that everybody else had, that guys seem to worship. Not realizing that the only man that's going to be standing behind you and screaming at your butt is somebody that just wants to have sex with you. At the end of the day, when a man marries a woman, flat butt or big butt, if she got the brains he wants, if he feels safe with her, he does not care about your butt. The butt is a luxury. It's just a luxury. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And so, like I said, a lot of times people end up losing their lives because it's not even just you putting yourself in danger because of idolatry, but it's putting your loved ones and even your children in danger because of idolatry. People lose their lives because you didn't want to do what God told. So let me give you this real quick understanding of idolatry. If you never knew what it is, I'm going to give you scriptural understanding of it. And I think if you take this and you come to understand it, you will avoid idolatry. God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. When you don't follow that scripture, when you don't follow that command, when you don't follow God's instructions, you fall into the lap of idolatry. Anything you seek first is what is going to set the stage for everything else. Anything you anything you seek first becomes a priority over everything else. And I want you to understand Baal worship, because a lot of people are in Baal worship right now, but they are completely unaware of it because they don't understand the concept of Baal worship. They think they got to call on Baal's name. No, you can be in a form of worship and not call on the name of that deity. Baal worship, and the thing about Baal worship, I tell people, when you really come to understand like the Jezebel spirit, or Jezebel herself, Jezebel from back in the days, they really didn't care. Like if you were living back in that time, and if you had been an Israelite back in that time, Jezebel didn't care that you were a worshiper of Yahweh. The only reason that Jezebel killed God's prophets is because God's prophets knew that you can't worship God and another deity. And in Baal worship, you can worship, they're typically polytheistic. They can worship multiple gods. They can worship many gods. However, they had to make Baal their supreme God. God said, worship no other God before me. Worship no other God before me. So in Baal worship, you can be Christian. This is why we have a lot of Christian Baal worshipers today who don't realize that they're Baal worshipers. We have a lot of Christian Baal worshipers today who sit back, because in Baal worship, it's all about self, it's all about your preference, your desire. That's what Baal worship is about. It's about you first. You take care of you first, girl. Your mental health, girl. It's about you. You need to. Your feelings. It's about taking your preferences, taking your carnality, taking your feelings, and exalting them over your spirit. That's why a lot of these mental health movements and a lot of this stuff is demonic. It sounds so good, but at the end of the day, it goes against scripture. It goes against scripture. It is not aligning itself with the word of God. So today, I want to deal with this because, like I said, that is something that triggered me when I was watching it. Guys, I love y'all. I love y'all. We got 200 people on here, which tells me that y'all, you got to like and share. I know it's so easy to get caught up in here. One, and two, I know it's easy to get into this mindset. Well, I don't want people to think I'm desperate for a man, so I don't want to post this because people are going to think no, that's not how people think, okay? And if they think that, it's something wrong with them. So just post it. Do me a favor, be sure to like and share, because I do believe that this is going to be good. This is going to be revelatory, and it's going to help you to realize whether or not you are into Baal worship or idolatry, so that you can go ahead and defeat the demons that have been ruling over your life. You can defeat the demons that have been ruling over your life, but it is a form of Baal worship. Baal worship is polytheism, and many Christians are polytheistic. They just don't know it. Love you too, sis. Many Christians are polytheistic. They just don't know it. They worship multiple gods. They have multiple gods, but they call on the name of God. They call on the name of Yahweh. They call on the name of Jesus, howbeit in their minds. Can I say this? Can I say this? Can I say it out loud? Can I say it with my chest? Some of you have even turned heaven into a God. You turned heaven into a deity. You turn heaven into a deity. You worship heaven. You want to go to heaven. You don't care nothing about pleasing the Lord. You don't care nothing about pleasing the Most High God. It's all about getting into heaven. You turned it into a deity. Everything you put first. You should not want to just go to heaven. That should not be your objective. Well, I'm going to live right. I'm going to do the right thing because I don't want to go to hell. That should not be your objective. None of us want to burn in hell. But your objective should be to love God in the same measure or greater measure than you love yourself. That's what it is. Love God in a greater measure, because when you love God, who is love, then he teaches you how to genuinely love yourself. But if you put yourself first, you won't understand love, because God is love. Therefore, what you have for yourself won't be real love. It'll be an obsession with your own preferences. It is called self worship. It's going to be all about self. And whenever you do that, you set yourself up for narcissism. You set yourself up for narcissism. And you end up in church and you end up preaching a watered down gospel about, girl, they say, turn to your neighbor, girl. Yeah, I don't be hearing all that kind of stuff. They just be talking. Shoot, girl, you got to do what you got to do to get your man. I'm telling you, I went on 3 dates last week. And you wonder why mentally she breaking down, but she's not going to show you that. Because in America, we have mastered wearing masks. That's why God have us wearing a mask nowadays. We've mastered coming out, putting a mask on our face and just showing this image that everybody wants to see. Hey, girl. But deep down inside in your house, you're curled up in the fetal position, dealing with depression because your spirit man is saying, I need more of the Most High God, not more of you. The flesh and the spirit are contrary to one another. You got too much flesh. You got too much flesh. So I want to deal with this thing, this demon, this devil called idolatry. And I want to help you to understand how dangerous it is to be desperate for marriage. I'm going to give you signs and symptoms that you yourself are desperate for marriage. And what are we going to talk? We're going to talk about. Do I have anything? Okay, no, signs that you're desperate. And then we're going to close behind that. I may give you a few pointers on how to break that, but I think some of the pointers I can give you is stuff I've been saying before, so I may not go through the pointers. It's just to help you to identify. So we're going to start off with Isaiah 3:10 through 26. So yes, I'm about to do quite a bit of reading, so bear with me. Okay. Isaiah 3:10, say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. This is to the righteous. That means those who have faith, those who are in right standing with God. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. The Lord standeth up to plead and standeth to judge the people. Let me state, because I got to stop here, where it say, they which lead thee cause thee to err. I think it was William McDowell. I was on TikTok and I scrolled and I saw a video. It was either on Instagram or TikTok, I don't know. But it was a video from William McDowell. I think he's Pastor William McDowell. And he was talking about a biblical worldview. And, it's talking about the basics of Christianity, whether you believe Jesus is Lord and you got to confess Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and that he died and he rose again from all of those things that we as Christians profess. And it said 37% of pastors have a biblical worldview. That made I closed TikTok. I was like, I think it was TikTok. I closed it. I said, oh, you mean to tell me y'all, because you know why? What happens is when you say, we don't want God, we want Saul's right raise up. When you say, we don't want the word, we want a watered down gospel, we want people to come out and tickle our ears, they raise up. They raise up to cater to your carnality, and then you see the fruit, and then you be like, why God let all this bad happen? No, whatever you bound on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth is loose in heaven. That has nothing to do with God. That's a form of narcissism. It's deflecting the blame. Blaming God because you don't understand his ordinances and you don't agree with them. So let's go back to 11. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy past. The Lord standeth up to plead and standeth to judge the people. The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces and grind the faces of the poor? Said the Lord God of hosts. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, this is what we see nowadays, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Talking about them bracelets on around the feet, making the tinkling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite thee with a scab. The Lord will smite thee with a scab, the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. What the health department's full today. And that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cauls, and their round tires like the moon. The chains and the bracelets, and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings and nose rings, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be a stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in war, and the gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Then we're going to move over to Isaiah 4:1. I was thinking, like, it's another scripture I wanted to read, and I got it written down. Isaiah 4:1. We're going to move over there real quick. It's just 4:1, and then I'm going to get into the lesson. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Tell me we're not here. Matter of fact, I got to do some research real quick after this. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Meaning, you ain't even got to take care of me. Just give me your last name. Tell me we're not here right now. Tell me we're not here right now. Okay, give me a second. I want to see something. I thought about that earlier, but I got so caught up. Give me a second. I'm trying to remember. I don't see it here, but I think it used to be. I remember hearing at one point there was 7 women per men. Now we already know what the devil's doing with that. We already know what the devil's doing that. Now you got men and women liking each other. So our numbers are dwindling, but we are seeing Isaiah 4:1 come to pass. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold. All these women with this one dude holding on to Tyrone. Tyrone out there cheating, he dogging you out. It doesn't matter. Tyrone got 7 girlfriends out there, or he got all these women holding on. This is why in this hour it is hard to be in a relationship with a man who is not saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Spirit. Because if you go get somebody out there who doesn't know his worth, who doesn't know his value, all he sees is that I got a lot of women that want to get with me. I got options. And he becomes cocky. And he doesn't know the difference between a wife and a woman. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. 7 of them will take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread. We'll take care of ourselves. You ain't even got to be a protector, a provider, everything, anything that the husband, even anything that the Bible calls you. You ain't got to be that no more. We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. You ain't got to make no clothes, nothing. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. You ain't got to take care of me. You go into this mindset and tell me if I'm lying. You go into this mindset, well, I think I'm a little too much. I think I need to kind of bring myself. I think I'm asking too much. Tell me who hasn't been there. Because this single thing I've dated and it's not working, and people are telling me I gotta lower my standards a little bit. You know why? Because you are trying to date in the wrong realm. The realm deals with a mindset. Date in the wrong dimension, not necessarily realm, but you're trying to date in the wrong dimension. It represents a mindset. In that, when you're in a realm and when you're in the wrong space, you're not supposed to settle down. I'm in this house. I like this house. It's cool. I thank God for it. This ain't what I want to buy. So this is the reason why I'm not buying a home as of yet. It's when my season of buy comes upon me, God will give. God said, be anxious for nothing. God will drop the money because God knows his daughter. God knows his daughter want to go and pay cash. He knows that about me. He know I don't want to owe nobody nothing but to hug him, to love him, but to hug him. He knows that about me. So he knows I'm here. I'm not going to settle for this house. This ain't what I want. This ain't what I'm looking for. This right here does not embody, but I thank God for it. It's a nice home, all of that. But it's not what I want. It's not what I want. So I know not to settle down here. It's the same thing. I've come in contact with men and just having one or two conversations with them, that ain't what I want. I know that. First few conversations, I know not to settle for that. But if I get desperate and I do mass dating, then I'll start questioning, am I really being a lie? Is everybody true? Will I remain single all the days of my life? So I guess I do have to settle for this man who says he really doesn't want to commit, or he wants to have the freedom he has as a single man. He doesn't want to provide. He wants 50-50. He wants to sit up there. He wants to be a feminine man. He wants a partnership. He don't want to be the head of his home. He don't want to cover anybody. He don't want to lead because he can't even lead himself. And y'all settling for these flood-wearing men. I said flood. These men wearing these pants with a flood and look like they wearing girl boat shoes, who sit on a date with you and make you pay for the ticket. I don't care. Nope. Because they don't know what it means to be a man. And nobody ever taught you what it meant to be a woman, a helpmeet. I'm not just coming for them. Nobody ever taught you. And so now you sit up there with a man who doesn't know how to be a man, who doesn't know how to be a provider. Am I saying that a woman shouldn't pay? Am I saying that a woman should sit around? No, a woman's supposed to be a helpmeet. Period, point blank. But when a man takes you on a date, he's demonstrating that he's a provider. Did y'all know that was the whole purpose of that? He's demonstrating that he can provide. He's demonstrating that. Let me go on a date with a dude and he'd be like 2 tickets. Buddy, last date with Tiffany. If he trying to date me, buddy. Because you don't want to be in a marriage that's a partnership. So let's go ahead and move into this. The Greek word for idolatry is idolatria, and it means image worship. And I'll spell it as E-D-O, the O with the hyphen on it. Got what you call that. E-D-O-L-O-L-L-O-L. E-D-O-L-O-L-A-T-R-I-A. And it means image worship. It means image worship. The Greek word is idolatria, and it means image worship. 2 Corinthians 10:5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. The root word for imaginations is image. Therefore, we often worship the images we see in our mind's eye and our imaginations that we fail to cast down. See, if you the reason God said cast that down is because you won't do seek ye first. Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. Whatever starts to take precedence in your mind is going to be the thing. It's going to become your GPS or your destination. So you will change or pervert your destiny because you make your destiny all about being married. You make your destiny all about getting the man, being married, so you can be humped every night. And you have this idolatrous view. And idolatry, I have to say this, it sets the stage for divorce. Did y'all know that? Did you know it? I've been there before. It sets the stage for divorce because you come in with unrealistic expectations. I run a mentorship. Y'all, I love it, and it's frustrating as a mentor. You know how many times I've dealt with people that have come into Esther Prep University, and it broke my heart. It frustrates me. It gets on my nerves. It annoys me when people come in with a mindset of idolatry. And I don't mind people coming in with the mindset as long as they're willing to stick around and let me mentor them so I can mentor them out the mindset. It's the ones that come in and get offended and quit because I won't let them idolize me. Those are the ones that frustrate me. But it is a trend. And I've learned a long time ago that you really can't help anybody unless they let you help them. I need you to hear me. That means I'm not going to pursue a person like that, because then that person is just dead set on bringing you under their control. That's what idolatry does. It makes you dead set on getting people to understand you rather than you understanding them. It makes you, Elisha, try to make Elijah understand why you need to go back and kiss your parents when Elijah understands what it means to be a prophet and to move forward. And you got to follow Elijah and stop trying to Jezebel him and make him follow you. That's what idolatry does. It opens the door for the Jezebel spirit or narcissistic ways. You can have a Jezebel spirit in you, or you can be under the influence of Jezebel. That means that you've been around so many Jezebels in your life that you don't even realize that you are now moving in that same expression. You are now moving in that same expression. And in order for you to be mentored, you got to have somebody that come in and you got to sit there and say, I don't agree with her or understand her. However, I want to break some stuff in my life. So let me just sit still. And brothers, I want you to hear me when I tell you, get you a good, solid, God-fearing sister in your life that can tell you when to run. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of these sisters out here are not marriage material. They're looking for people to understand them, and that is a problem. You got to understand the word of God. You got to stop trying to make people understand you. How many times in your life has that worked where you found people, because what everybody does, nobody trying to understand me. You become a victim. Nobody trying to understand me. Nobody. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because you won't listen. And I've learned if you have no ears to hear, I will not throw pearls to swine. I won't waste my time, my effort, or my energy. Nor will I waste my resources, nor am I going to go through days of offense trying to get through to somebody who doesn't want to hear. All I can do is say, aha, I understand why you're in the situation that you're in, because you're too prideful to hear the truth. The root word for imagination is image. This is why God says, casting down imaginations. The root word of imagination is image. He said, cast it down, because whatever image you put in your mind's eye, that becomes the very thing that you search. That becomes the thing that you check for or you run after. This is why God said, seek ye first, because what he wanted to do is he wanted to acclimate, or he wanted to use a function he put in you. And this function becomes addiction, but it's supposed to be dedication. It's supposed to be loyalty, but it becomes addiction when you choose something other than God first. Especially for the prophet or the prophetic person, you have a mechanism where it causes you to come into addiction. And so what God wanted you to do, he says, seek ye first. That does not mean go to church first, read your Bible, identify as a Christian, get baptized, and now you can go get a man. You have not found God. He says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. He's talking about his heart. Get his heart. And when you come into agreement with him, that's when you date in court, because then you know love. He is love. But when you don't do it that way, you fall into the trap of idolatry, because whatever you seek first, or whatever you seek foremost, whatever takes precedence in your mind over everything else is an idol. And I need you to hear me when I say this. Before I get into this, I'm going to go into the dangers of idolatry. I want you to hear me when I say this. When it comes to idols, a lot of times you're not going to identify them as idols. Because for you, it's just, I got a passion for stuff like that. But when you're a prophet or prophetic person, this is what I actually wanted to say. When you're a prophet or a prophetic person, you are prone to idolatry. You're prone to it. You have an appetite, you have a need to dedicate or to affiliate yourself with something greater than yourself. And when you don't make God your priority, and the way you do that, you got to hear me. You have to take time off from dating. This is the part people don't want to hear. You got to take time off from dating. You got to let God sanctify your appetite. You got to let God sanctify your appetite so that you can get to the space where it's just like this. Okay, I've been in this thing where I'm trying to reclaim. I've been fasting and fasting and fasting. I'm trying to reclaim what God gave me, and that is an appetite for healthy stuff. Because, over the course of my life, since I was a kid, I've been fed unhealthy stuff. So that's what I got addicted to. And every time I try healthy living, man, that addiction, I was like, I'm going Chick-fil-A. I'm going over here. Khalil, thank you. God bless you. I'm going over here. I'm going to go here. And I can tell you, I have an addictive personality, because whatever restaurant I go to, I'm gonna keep going to it. I show up the next day, and the next day, I'm gonna keep having a taste for it until I burn it out, till I get tired of it. And so one of the things that I had to do, part of the reason that I decided to go on a fast, was because that pulls me away. I can restrict my appetite and say, you can't have that. Because I know if I just do it on my own, I'll be right back up there. But I had to put it in a fast form for me to say, okay, let me restrict myself so I can't have that. And that way, whenever I come out of it, hopefully, not just hopefully, my appetite will have changed. And when I say now, hopefully, I did a 21-day fast, and then I turned around when I came out, I was still craving. I came out of it, I threw myself back in. I gave myself 1 day of acting a donkey, and then I threw myself right back into another 21-day fast. Right. And a lot of us, addiction is addiction because it's food addiction. And then when you come out of idolatry with a man, like you come out of that type of idol worship, addiction will find something else to latch yourself onto. And so it manifests in food addiction. And then if you get out of that, it'll manifest in some other form of addiction. And what you have to do is you have to take that and you have to sanctify that. You have to fight it. And you have to do that by going to church and studying your word and being really consistent. Like you have to attach your addiction to something else. So one of the things that I did is that because I am a person, because I have an addictive personality, there are certain things I don't watch on television because I don't want to get addicted to them. Like I've never watched Scandal. You guys know that. I've never watched Empire. All of this stuff that people call addictive, I've never watched it because I know my personality. I know I get caught up in it, and then it becomes a thing for me. So I'm very mindful of where I place my appetite. So I decided to place it in business. I decided to place it in business and, building and in ministry. I decided to place that appetite. Like I had to target where I placed that need to build, to do something and what have you. There was a time I placed it in relationships. And this is what I'm dealing with now because God bought me out. And one of the things I want to do is I want to make sure that none of you fall into it. So let's talk about the dangers of idolatry. The dangers of idolatry. Number one, it was a sin that caused the Israelites to repeatedly reject God, thus causing God to put them away. Israel would not stop worshiping other gods. They just wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. They kept finding themselves, because that is one of the works of the flesh. One of the fruits of the flesh is that you have the craving to worship something. And the thing about the Most High God, the thing about Yahweh is that He doesn't give you what you want when you want it. And a lot of times when you're a babe in Christ, you throw tantrums. And if you ever want to know how you are as a Christian, look at your kids. That's how you act. Why you see your little toddler hit the floor, that's how you act. Or that's how you acted before you grew up. You threw a tantrum because God said no. You take a kid to the store and you get up there to the register, and they got them registers set up to toy with your kid's idolatry, because your kid, in most cases, they're not saved yet, right? They're still kids, they're immature. So when they get to that register, their register is set up to toy with their issue. That's capitalism. Capitalism toys with your issue. It creates an issue and it capitalizes on it. So it put that thing up there so it can toy with you, or it can toy with your kid. So when you get to the register and you standing in line, why you think they don't want to have short lines? Why you think they don't want to have where you got cashiers and you go through the line quick, because then that would cause themselves making you stand in line actually causes them to make more money. Y'all understand capitalism? Study it. It makes you spend more money when you stand in line, because you got stuff over there that you don't need, stuff over there that you're going to invest in. You got tabloids, you got magazines, and then you got candy and gum, and the next thing you know, and then you brought that little kid with you. Mom, can I have this? No, put that down. Junior, put that down. And you know what Junior does? Threatens to humiliate you. See, Junior won't throw that tantrum at home because Junior know you'll get him at home. Junior throw that tantrum in the middle of the store because one of the works or one of the issues in the flesh is manipulation or witchcraft. So Junior hits the floor and start, because it's a form of witchcraft. Now the kid ain't a witch; he's just a kid. But he hits the floor and he kicks his legs up to humiliate you, because if he knows that it worked. That's why you don't give in to that. That's why you don't give in to that. Because when he's standing there and he laying on the floor, you either stand there and just let him lay there, or you can do it like our parents did. They'll get you there. Or, nowadays you got rules and laws against that. You can do it. One thing my mama used to do: whisper in your, I'm going to get you when I get home. And I'm going to tell you something. What was worse than a butt whooping was the anticipation of it. What was worse than a butt whooping was the anticipation of it. And my mom, my mom there were levels to butt whooping. The worst butt whooping you can get is the one from embarrassing her. How many of your mothers would like that? The worst butt whooping you can get was from embarrassing her. So I knew not to go into the store and hit that floor. My little sister pulled that before. And my little sister was, out of my mom's kids, she was the one my mom rarely ever whooped. I don't even think she got 10% of the whoopings we got. She could do just about anything and get away with it. But that time, when she laid on that floor, I was 10, so she was 4. When she laid on that floor in the middle of Kroger at the register because she wanted some M&Ms, my mom whooped her right there at that register. My mom took her house shoe off and got her on that floor. And I'm like, about time. They would pick your switch. They would get you for that kind of stuff. Nowadays, we have a tendency to cater to the witchcraft in kids. We grow it up. We mature it. And we just said they're just being kids. It was a sin that caused the Israelites to repeatedly reject God, thus causing God to put them away. Number 2, when you reject God, hear this. I need your ears to open. Pay attention. Stop what you're doing. Hear this. When you reject God, the spirit of rejection will marry itself to you. That's why rejection is so common nowadays. That's why it's a strong man in the majority of deliverances. When you reject God, the spirit of rejection will marry itself to you. When you reject God, the spirit of rejection, you will deal with rejection. How do I know that? It's funny you ask, because when I found myself complaining about the man I was married to, he don't care nothing about me. Got up in there washing dishes. He don't care. He don't really love me. He put everything before me. And God said, I know how you feel. You talk about the way that the Lord will rebuke me, and he still gets me like that to this day. He still gets me like that. The Lord throws shade at me. I don't know about you, but he throws shade at me. He gets me. He rebukes me like that. He brings to my attention what I'm doing wrong. When you reject God, this is where this thing comes from. If you dealt with rejection, it's not just coming from your parents. My mama wasn't that good of a mama, and my dad and left me. Yeah. But that it comes from them rejecting God, and they reject the ordinances of God. And please understand, please hear me. Rejecting God has far more to do. You can't accept him with your mouth and then deny his word. He is his word. He is. You can't. You can't reject him. You can't sit there and say, I do worship the Most High God. He is my everything. Jesus Christ is Lord over my life. And then you reject his word. Girl, and I know I'm going to offend some people with this, but I can't care because I'm called by him. Girl, It ain't the will of God that we be killing babies. See, there you go. See, it's Christians like you. Watch numbers change. And then you end up with the spirit of death following you and your children around. Because you're in agreement with it. You're in agreement with it. And nobody ever told you. If you ever want to know when they trying to pass laws, talk to the deliverance ministers. We know what we cast out. We know what's illegal in the realm of the spirit. But y'all want something watered down. You want to hear that it's okay. You want to hear people say, girl, it's your body. Yeah, but you know what? That body inside of you, you didn't give God your body. It's not supposed to be yours anymore. Present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. That's not supposed to be your body, but because you kept it, that's your business. But that baby on the inside of you don't belong to you. That belongs to God. You have the freedom of choice. God will never rob you of that until your choice impedes upon the choice of another person. When your choice impedes upon the choice of another person, that's when it becomes illegal. That's when it becomes witchcraft. That's when it becomes a problem. When your choice takes away the choice of another person. You ain't got no life in it. Who told you that? When your choice, it becomes witchcraft. That's why witches are on that side. When anytime you are arguing a cause, if you are on the same side as a witch, you're in trouble. I'm going to say that again. If you are on the same side as a witch, you are in trouble. If you are in agreement with witches, you are in trouble. Because that means that you didn't sanctify. You're still eating the world's diet. You're still eating the world's diet. This body is not mine. This belongs to the Most High God. And I'm still learning how to treat it. Abstinent 8 years, but I'm still learning how to treat it because now I'm having to learn to treat it right when it comes to food. I'm still learning how to treat this. Don't belong to me. Do I have the ability to choose? But yes, and God has the ability to give me the consequence. When your choice impedes upon the choice of someone else, especially a little one, study the Bible about little ones. It'd be better if a millstone was placed upon your neck and you cast into the sea. When it impedes upon a choice of another, it becomes witchcraft. It is illegal. It doesn't just become witchcraft, it becomes high-level witchcraft. But if we presented our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, if we followed his ordinances, this would not be up for discussion. We wouldn't have this discussion. We wouldn't have this discussion. It would not be a problem. And now we got Christians arguing against Christians. You're never arguing against another Christian who aligns himself with what's in the Bible. You're arguing with God himself. We're just the mouthpieces. We're just the ambassadors. We're just the voice. When you reject God, number 2, when you reject God, the spirit of rejection will marry itself to you. Let me tell you a little bit of something about the spirit of rejection. When it marries itself to you, it causes you to be repeatedly rejected. It makes you hyper aware about rejection because in that you have denied God. So you become hyper aware about the behaviors of other people. You become super sensitive. Now, if you've accepted God and you come to realize you're accepted in the beloved and you're letting God be God, he not just be God, but be Lord over your life. If you've done that, then you know what? You can walk into a room and you can deal with people rejecting you and it doesn't move you. You can deal with people trying to openly and sometimes trying to get your attention with the rejection because they're trying to send a message and you won't even get the message because you won't care. You won't care. You'll just say to yourself, these people, and you keep it moving. It won't bother you, but you become hypersensitive when you have rejected God as number 1, when you're caught up in the realm of Baal worship. Number 3, God is love. So every relationship you establish outside of him will be loveless. God is love. God is agape. He is true love, unconditional love. God is love. So every relationship, if you fall into idolatry, every relationship that you come into will be loveless, but it's going to feel like love because there are counterfeits to everything that God has. So, excuse me, what you'll get is relationships filled with lust, obsession, and witchcraft. And they feel just like love. They do. They feel real good. You be on cloud nine and everything. Wig spinning on the headboard. Everything feels good. That is. One thing about witchcraft is very much like alcohol. It's very much like drugs. You're high for a moment. Your dude is high for a moment, but you're scheduled to sober up. You're scheduled. That's why half the relationships don't work. Because we high as a kite. Our relationships are not filled with love. God. It's not filled with God. Is not the third fold in our relationships. And so now we get high, and I can meet a man, and I can completely put God out. But in the back of my mind, I got God in the back seat. He in the car, but he not at the front seat. He's not behind the wheel. WILL. He's not behind my wheel because I put me first. So I'm behind my wheel doing what I want. I tried to put God in the back seat, not realizing he ain't trying to ride shotgun or nothing. If he ain't in the front seat, he ain't in the vehicle. So I can sit up there and I have this man. And I'm giving him me first, and I'm getting him first. And then my plan is to secure the bag, secure the dude, and then try to give God back his place. To tell you a little secret I learned from me being an idol worshiper back in the day, me putting men before God. When you put yourself in the front seat, this is how it works. I'm going to give you a real live picture of it. When you put yourself in the front seat and you put your preference in a side seat, in the let it ride shotgun. Then whenever you make yourself an idol first, this is how it works. Then you'll find yourself in a relationship with somebody who, in many cases, says, "Hey, I can date you, but I have to become your idol. You got to ride with me." So you switch seats. So he becomes your everything. You go into the passenger seat. Then you look back there and you say, "God, you there?" Then you tell yourself, "He invisible. I can't see him anyhow. He in the car. He in the car." Then you go to the altar. You do all of that stuff. God ain't even nowhere in that relationship. He didn't ordain it. He didn't come into agreement with it. He didn't bless it. So you end up in a loveless relationship filled with witchcraft. Now you're high as a kite because this guy's going to take you to the sights. He's going to take you everywhere. I'm in love with you. I'm going to take you here. All of this stuff that's in your image nation, in your imagination that you didn't cast down. And you find yourself. Now, the thing about the imagination, I told you guys, the trick of the enemy is he always likes to throw all these thoughts at you, is to get you to fall in love with a thought, a belief, an imagination, a fantasy, so that you can hijack the will of another person here. Women do it. Brothers, you may not realize it, but a lot of times a woman, when she married you, she didn't marry you. She married who she wanted you to be. She married your potential. She married your potential, who she thought you would become, who she thought you had the potential to become, which is why the arguing starts. The arguing a lot of times has everything to do with you not matching up to the man here. You didn't match up to him. She animated you here. And that sets the stage for divorce. Because now you're rejecting a man as he is because you're in love with a man that you created in here based on your voids and based on your exes. I came out of it. God brought me out so I can preach it to you. Now you're in love with your voids and your exes. And now the man that you got, he don't meet up. He doesn't match up. So God is love. So every relationship you establish outside of God will be loveless. You'll be high as a kite, or he be high as a kite. Men typically sober up before women do. The man falls out of love in most cases because it's not love. Falling in love is not a real thing. In love, true love is love. And there is no such thing as in love. It's almost like this I guess the stop off center you get to before you actually get into love, but the place doesn't exist. It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale created by the media, created by Hollywood to make money because it helps you to understand the jittery feelings that you get, the butterflies in your stomach. And in reality, and I saw it on TikTok the other day. Y'all know something. When I say something on my channel and I see somebody else preach it, sometimes I'll be like, They watching my channel. But I think it was a psychiatrist was talking about that. I've been preaching on my channel for a while, but was talking about that feeling is honestly your heart warning you that is you're in danger. Sister Rachel, thank you. God bless you. That your heart warning you. See, God says, guard the heart, for out of it pours the issues of life. Whatever your heart is okay. Think about this. Whenever you deal with major trauma, your body responds to protect you. So a lot of times you don't feel the impact of it immediately because adrenaline takes over. That's what happens when your heart is hijacked. When somebody gets into your heart too fast, when you don't guard it, when they get into your heart too fast, your body releases endorphins as a protective mechanism. So you go through this phase of being high. But that doesn't mean that you're in love. What that is that you're high. Your body is protecting you, saying your heart has been hijacked. There's somebody here that's not supposed to be here. We didn't go through a process. Like I was not notified of this person's everything moved too fast. Everything moved too fast. I saw that on TikTok and I was like, maybe you're watching my channel. But I can't take credit. We give God all the glory. All right, number 4. Satan will have the deed in your relationship, so you'll pay property tax to him. This is if you fall into idolatry. Satan will have the deed to your relationship. One of the funniest things that we have a tendency to do as Christians is that we have a tendency to go get our dude, go into sin with him, do all that stuff trying to secure the dude. Like I said, we try to put God in the back seat. We're like, okay, let me get what I want first, then I'll give you your seat in my life. Then you can be God, you can be Lord in my life. And God's like, no. So God gets out the vehicle, but we think he's still in the vehicle. We try to go get him. And then what we do, we end up getting married to these godless dudes. Then when we get married to these godless dudes and they don't want the Lord, and we are afraid of them doing to us what we did to God, and as cheating on us, what we do is we try to drag them jokers to church. Tell me I'm lying. We try to drag them to church. Baby, my pastor so anointed my church. You'll love it. Not only do we try to drag them to church, we try to point out anything in our church that's carnal that they may like. Oh, you ain't got to worry about that. We got twerkers on the praise team. They turn around and they make it bounce every Sunday. We ain't into all that. Thankfully, my church don't have it. I'm just saying. We got twerkers on the praise team. I've seen stuff like that. We try to point out all the carnal parts. There are people up in there. That's this woman up in there. And her, please, to the wives, tell me I'm lying. We try to point out. Baby, you got to come to our youth explosion. No, the youth explosion, a lot of times going to have a little carnality because you're dealing with the young folk. Come to the youth explosion. Because we keep trying to appeal to his carnality. We keep trying to seduce and manipulate him to God. We keep on trying to get him. We're going to get him in there one way or another. We try to turn on some gospel rap because he don't want to hear worship. Turn on some gospel rap. And I'm not against gospel rap, but some of the time them dudes be having Leviathan spirits. And you can see it. They still grabbing their crotches and stuff. Out there womanizing like crazy. Tattoos going all up their neck. Baby, check this out. And he be over there. Who was there? Oh, that's gospel snowflake. Oh, okay. He legit. I saw I think it was Instagram. I'm pretty sure it was Instagram. I saw something. I think it was on Church Funny. I screamed. Very few things that make me laugh like that. Where somebody posted up. They posted up a meme. And somebody posted up those church mothers, those old church mothers, their husbands were unsaved. Let me see if I can find that. I screamed when I said, because I thought about it. You didn't, and somebody else put in the comment section, their husbands wouldn't come to church with them on Sunday. Their husbands would be out fishing, either drunk or fishing. Either drunk or fishing. Okay, yep, here we go, right here. Here we go, right here. I'm gonna let y'all see it. I'm gonna let y'all see it. Let me see if I can get that. I screamed when I saw this. I put that dirty nail. I know y'all love y'all old church mothers, but none of their husbands were saved. True. And somebody put it in the comment section, and I screamed. Let me see if I can find that comment. Let me see if I can find that comment. Yep, right here. Let's see if I can find that comment. I know I ain't got to show it to y'all, but I just want y'all. I think it's a little bit better when you can get the full. It won't show. Give me a second. Husbands be home drunk fishing every Sunday. True. Husbands be drunk fishing every Sunday. Let me tell you a little bit of a secret. That's why a lot of times what we do is we get in relationships when we're not saved or when we're not sanctified, when we're not mature enough yet. And this is why we end up becoming more anointed or more dedicated to God, more sanctified than our husbands. And that's a frustrating existence. Because, you know, you can end up at church, and when you're at church, your husband hasn't crucified his flesh, so he wants nothing to do with church. He wants nothing to do with church. So you at church by yourself. And then when he does come to church, he mean mugging your pastor. That's until y'all have a youth explosion. That's the only time he's going to get up out of his seat. When young murderer X, because he used to be young murderer before he got saved, but now he's young murderer X. And then he's going to become old murderer X. When he get up there, he still got the spirit of murder in him, and he be like, oh God, and hitting his chest, and y'all like, oh yeah. That's when he get up out of his seat. Yeah, he got mad skills. Number 4, again, Satan will have the deed to your relationship, so you will pay property tax to him. And when Satan has a deed to your relationship, he controls it. When he has a deed to your relationship, he'll let you go to church. He'll let you do a lot of stuff. But as soon as you start moving, like if you're trying to get that man saved, he'll oh, please call me a lie. He'll have that man take you to hell. Call me a lie. When he got the deed to your relationship, he'll have that dude take you through some stuff. As soon as you sit up there, you try to write the book, your husband's taking you through hell. Some of y'all, you ain't finished the book yet because you married to that type of man. Oh, I dare you to share this. I promise you there's somebody on your page that's going to be like, can't write the book, can't do nothing God told her to do. Because the minute every time you try to move in your purpose, you get put on punishment. Every time you try to move in your purpose. And one of the things is hard to be in a relationship, in a house with a person like that, because they change the atmosphere of the house. So what they do is they take this atmosphere that you need to produce, this atmosphere that you need, this peace, they take it and they take it away. So you can't write, you can't produce because you're too busy crying and arguing or wondering where they at. Well, that's what it's like to be married to a demon. Satan will have the deed and to your relationship, so you'll pay property tax. All right, number 5, every time you try to get closer to God, Satan will use your spouse to either torment you or distract you. We just got to talking about that, so I won't spend time there. Every time you sit up there and come home, baby, they want me to join a ministry team at church. That was cool. You gonna come to you gonna come to my ordination? Now, normally a good godly man, you ain't got to work because he's going to be at church anyway, and then he'll be at your ordination. But now you got to sit up there. He don't want to come. He don't want to come. Then you get put on punishment every time you try to do something for the king. We're doing a charitable event, the church. We're going to be out there feeding the homeless on Saturday at 2. All right, y'all go ahead. You're not going to come because this is really good. We can help them. No, I promised Tyrone and them I was going to hang out with them. We're going to go shoot some hoops. You'll never want to come. Like every time, I'm only asking, can you just please? Somebody else's husband. Here we go again. I ain't everybody else's husband. Number 6, sad that I can tell you what you're going to go through, and someone is still elect to go through it. They think, I can handle it. No, you can't. It's frustrating. It's tormenting. You will wish you were single. You will idolize, or not even idolize, you will admire single sisters when you get in that type of relationship. Ask the married women who fell into that trap. They be sitting back, y'all looking in their window, they looking in yours. They looking in your window saying, if I was single again, if that was me, I would enjoy that season. I would have took advantage of that season. We never appreciate the season that we're in. We only appreciate it when we come out of it. I think about the times where I thought I was fat, what have you, and I go back and I can look at those old pictures and be like, girl, if I can just get back down. Girl, when I had that. Girl, when I had that. You always think that you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not good enough until you leave that season. All right. Number 6, you will ultimately become incredibly manipulative if you don't surrender fully to Yahweh. You're going to be in that environment and you'll be fighting for your Christianity, fighting for your sanctity, fighting for all that makes you who God designed you to be. But in most cases, you will lose that and you'll become manipulative yourself because that's the language that your man speaks. So to the guys and woman speaks, they speak manipulation. They don't understand kingdom of holiness and all the right things. And so you have to learn their language. You become spiritually, what is that? Bilingual. You become spiritually bilingual. You learn how to speak the language of manipulation and the language of the kingdom. And you become very good and so skilled at speaking the language of manipulation that it becomes your primary language. And now a lot of Christians can't trust you and you end up getting frustrated because they don't want their husbands around your husband or you. They ain't inviting you out because they don't want your man to influence theirs. You become manipulative. You start playing mind games. You start doing stuff that you ain't supposed to do. You'll do stuff just to make that man feel at home with you. Feel like you're not judging him. Number 7, sex will become a work or a chore. The intimacy aspect of it will continue to diminish. That's why those relationships, a lot of times, it becomes a chore. And when it becomes a chore, it becomes incredibly perverted. Now, to the fellas, a lot of times the whole concept of perverted sex sounds like a good idea if you've never had intimacy. And I'm talking about true intimacy where love himself, God, approved of it. You never experienced intimacy. When you never experienced intimacy, all you know is perversion. So the whole concept of having perverted sex sounds like funny. You think about bullet wounds and all of that. You think that's fun in the bedroom. You think that, you want a dominatrix to put a girdle around your neck and that can tighten up and it chokes or what have you. Don't nobody go get a patent on that. But and I'm not going to invent that. Those are evil inventions that the Bible talks about. But you think that somebody needs to put that on there and you like, can we go to level 6? You can choke me a little bit more. You end up having that type of sex where it's just perversion, not intimacy. And one thing about the female, the way women are created for intimacy. We need intimacy. I'm going to put it there. Women need intimacy. Women need intimacy. And a little bit of insight. I said I was going to do a class on this at some point. I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, but I really don't get 3 rat's feathers because from religious people anyhow. But intimacy, you end up getting caught up in this realm of perverted sex where it becomes work. And women need intimacy unless they're incredibly broken. And when a woman doesn't get intimacy, her body shuts down because her mind shuts down. Her mind begins to communicate with her soul. I really don't feel like sex anymore. Because sex has become a chore. Your body responds to how God responds to religion. It's dry. Because a woman needs intimacy. And when a woman has intimacy, I'm going to give you a little bit of secret. The pleasure aspect of sex is directed by the woman. The pleasure aspect of sex. Now, you're going to get pleasure anyway if you're having sex with a person. But it's directed by how her body responds to the man. It determines whether it's a good experience or a not so good experience. If her body is not in agreement with you, because her mind is not in agreement with all of that crazy stuff that you want to do in the bedroom, then her body typically responds by drying up. It doesn't warm up, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So you end up having desert sex with a woman repeatedly. And desert sex is painful. So because it's painful and not pleasurable, she doesn't want to have it with you. She's not interested in having sex. So when you come to bed and you're trying to rub her leg, it was never supposed to be like that. Because if it's an intimate experience, it's just like when we go before God, sex is very similar to worship. When we go before God and we give him an offering that he's pleased with, God accepts it. Thank you, Sister Lakita. God bless you, sis. God accepts it. God accepts it. But when he's not pleased with it, he rejects the offering. We reject it. We feel rejected. This is what happened to Cain. That's how your body responds. That to the sisters, that's how you ain't never been married. I'm put it out there. Your body responds like that. If a man is treating you right and he's doing the things he's supposed to do, the woman controls the intimate, the pleasurable aspect. Like I said, pleasure is a part of sex, so automatically a man gets pleasure. But there are heights and levels to pleasure, and there is going to be a greater level of pleasure when the woman is pleased with your offering. I shouldn't have said it like that, but I must. When the woman is pleased, when you are taking care of her and her mind, when a woman feels safe enough to submit, you will experience something you've never experienced before. With all them little things that you went out there and they're used to all these other guys. They're soul tied. So they're soul tied to a bunch of other dudes. So their bodies are still responding to their past. Their bodies are still, that's why all that sex that people are having out there, the man is still responding to his past, the woman, it's rhythm, it's work. It's just people going through the patterns, the works, the religion of sex, and then getting the experience afterwards. Now you got children being born to women who never even had orgasms. And she can't tell you that to the guys. A lot of times she can't express that to you because it would wound your ego. Or a lot of women have had them, they just never had them with their husbands. Because they're too afraid to communicate that, hey, this stuff you're doing in the bedroom, I don't know about this. Where was I? Sex will become a work. This is what idolatrous sex feels like. It is a work. It is religious. It is a chore. And the intimacy aspect, meaning that the man won't have that great or grand of an experience with you. And I don't know if I want to say this. Typically, remember I told you that we marry our fantasy of a person, but we divorce their reality. A lot of times, when you're dealing with idolatry, the person is going to go into fornication. During fornication, the woman accepts the offering because in that moment she feels like you're giving her. She's in love with the man in her head. So she's not necessarily responding to the man in front of her. She's not responding to the man she's having sex with. She's responding to the man she hopes him to be. But when she gets married, she begins to respond to the man he actually is because she starts slowly but surely getting introduced to him. And she keeps trying to get rid of him. And when she can't get rid of him, then she gets frustrated. And then next thing you know, her body begins to dry up. Her body begins to dry up. And so she begins to reject the offering, right? And so what happens is now she has desert sex. It becomes work. It's not that intimate anymore. When she's having desert sex with a man notices the difference. He feels rejected in the bedroom. Consequently, he goes out there because he never consecrated. He never died to himself. So he's still dealing with fornication. So he's still dealing with, and matter of fact, he's acclimated to becoming an idol. And now that he's starting to come down in her life where she's not putting on a pedestal anymore, and he's no longer being her idol, or he feels himself being lowered from that pedestal because now she's starting to worship her preference again. She changed the seats. Then what ends up happening is he goes out there, he finds another woman, and that woman is idolizing him. Now her body's responding to who she thinks he is. And so now he having better sex with her than he has with his wife. It's not that she's better in the bedroom. It's just that she's in that state his wife used to be in. She's in a state the wife used to be in. The wife is now in a relationship with, even though on paper she's married to him, but she's still in the courtship or dating process. She's dating, she's getting to know the man that he actually is. And she realizes, I don't like this joker. So I say we marry our fantasy of a man, but we divorce their reality. And so now she doesn't want to sleep with him anymore. Whenever she does sleep with him, the sex ain't all that good because you know what? Her body responds to how her mind feels. Her mind doesn't feel that great about him. So her body is not lubricating or warming up or having the heavens are not opening for him, if you may. And so consequently, he go over to this other woman that's still under the spell, who still thinks he's a great man, who still thinks he's this wonderful person. He goes over there and she's in a relationship with her fantasy of him. And when he sleeps with her, the heavens open over here. So he ends up having great and miraculous and amazing sex with this woman. But when he go home to his wife, it's blah. It gets the job done. But there's something about the human soul that tells you there's more. There's more. Why am I not getting more? Because you're supposed to plow. It's very similar to worship. You're supposed to plow. You're supposed to talk to your wife. You're supposed to get to know your wife all over again and understand that she's repeatedly changing. So you got to get to know every different aspect of her, and she has to do the same with you. Sister Deanna, God bless you, sis. Thank you. And when that doesn't happen, you start looking outward, then you start feeling accepted by the other female, and her body is lubricating and warming up and saying, I want you. If your woman don't want you, and next thing you know, you are in love or pretty much under a spell. You're in witchcraft by this other woman, and then you leave your wife for this other woman, and you think you've done a good job because in the beginning, now she's in competition mode. So she triggers her mind to keep thinking of you in a high space, or in many cases, she holds on to you because she's too busy competing against your wife until your wife divorces you. When your wife divorces you, if she doesn't move on, she still holds on to you. But if your wife moves on and says, you know what, then her job is done because her assignment was to destroy. And now Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, when she destroys, she has to date your reality. If your wife move on and go be with somebody else and don't want you no more and heal and don't want you and is forgiving you, and thankfully, and I won't say thankfully, a lot of times they don't do that. But that's when the other female says, now she don't want to sleep with you. Or whenever she sleep with you, got to be perverted. It's got to be choke chains, all that stuff. There's no intimacy there. The heavens begin to close over there. So now you're out there looking for another female that way, and you got to go deceive another female into believing, and you become a master at deceiving them because you will allow them to fall in love with who they think you are because you like the worship aspect. You like having that woman who is putting you on a pedestal. That's why when you're 44 years old, you still going after 21-year-olds because a lot of times they naive and they don't know no better. You don't want to go after no woman that's sober enough to test the spirit. You don't want to go after a woman that sit back and say, hey, I need this, because she comes to know what she needs for the heavens to open for you. Okay, I'll move on. Number 8, your children won't know what a godly relationship looks like, and this will set the stage for them to follow into your footsteps or avoid marriage altogether. They won't know what it looks like. And so you have to sit there as a mother or as a father and watch your children go out there and be an abusive and condescending, crazy relationship because you set the stage for them. You normalize that in their lives. And because it's normalized, they will fight you because you are a hypocrite when you're trying to tell them not to do what they saw you doing. I don't think I need to spend time there, so we can move on to number 9. Perversion will have a key to your house. We just got through talking about that. We just got through. And of course, perversion doesn't always deal with sex. It just means to be twisted. It means to be altered from your original design. However, let's deal with it as it relates to sex. You start eating this diet or this belief that the world has, that in order for you to have a good sexual experience, you got to make everything bodily. Everything got to be about flesh. So you start thinking that you need all of these extra tools in the bedroom in order for you to have satisfying sex. Now, to the woman, that's not that fun. Women are creatures of intimacy. Women are creatures of intimacy. So perversion ends up with a key to your house, and it keeps coming over there at nighttime. 9 p.m., 10, 9, between 9 and 11, perversion unlocks your door and walks in. And it tells you, it begins to minister to you, it says, regular, just having, I don't even want to say regular, but just having intimate, just following each other's lead so you can find each other's need in that hour, because not all sex is going to be the same. Instead of you having intimate sex, you go into the bedroom trying to figure out, what can I do next? Now the man ends up doing things to the woman that she does not like, because perversion is y'all are having a threesome with perversion. Spirit of perversion is in the bedroom, and it's like, put her legs and pin them all the way over her head. Now the woman is sitting there in pain. Do this to her, do that to her. Now she's in a bunch of incredible pain, but she has to endure. That is her cross to bear in order to hold on to her charming husband. Y'all didn't know it. Y'all didn't know. I got to give it to you raw. I can't put a condom on the truth. You end up having perverted sex where your wife or your worshiper, when I say worshiper, she's supposed to be worshiping God, is not happy because she's too busy trying to partner with the spirit of rejection or partner with the spirit of perversion, because she was taught by the media, you better be a freak in the sheets, because she don't even know how her own body's wired. You got to be a freak in the sheets. And she learned the hard way. You doing all that, the windows of heaven are closing because you don't like the sex that y'all are having. And he ends up cheating on you because you don't like the sex that y'all are having. Sex was supposed to be an intimate experience. It's supposed to be you finding each other's need in the bedroom. It's very similar to worship. In worship, there are sometimes you can reach God on that level. There are other times you got to go higher in worship. You can't go in there giving God the same old monotone. This is why he said, sing to me a new song. So you can't keep coming in the bedroom like, man, I'm about to wear it out today. Tell you a little secret. When a woman hears that, he about to do some stupid stuff. He about to do some stupid stuff. I'm about to wear it out today. Because he ain't coming in there thinking, I want to express my love for you. I want you to enjoy me. He's thinking about his pride, his ego. I'm about to do some stuff to you. Pride comes before destruction. A haughty look before a fall. It's about to be whack. It's about to be whack. Now he up in the room talking about, you like that? In your head, you're like, I can't say that. I actually don't. Some stupid stuff. Why? Because he's never been taught to worship. This is why worshipers make the best lovers. He's never been taught. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's supposed to worship you. I'm saying he has learned to navigate the realm of intimacy. And when he's never learned to navigate the realm of intimacy, he's learned to navigate the realm of works and religion. And when he's a master at works and religion, he's mastered it on other people. So he's bringing all of these different people into the bedroom, and he's trying to give you all of these different things. Now he think that you putting you in some crazy move is going to be pleasurable to you. He think grabbing your face and squeezing you. What the heck is you doing? I feel hatred on it, bro. The heck is this? Then he get up and he be like, I wore you out, didn't it? No, you didn't. You wore yourself out. You don't want to lay in there asleep, looking crazy in the face. And a woman is muzzled in many cases like that, where she's been taught to not tell you that you whack. You have to learn intimacy. This is why God says seek ye first. When you seek God first and you learn to worship him, you put him first, you will know how to navigate a bedroom. An intimate experience. I ain't talking about a sexual encounter. Those are different. A sexual encounter is a reason why you became whack. Not just to the dudes, that's to the women as well. When you used to having sexual encounters, you take perversion into the bedroom, then your body eventually responds and says, I don't want sex no more. That's why a lot of people get married and they shut down. A lot of women get married and they shut down because you never learn intimacy. And your body responds the same way heaven responds. Your body says, yep. I'm out. You can take the body in there, but I am out. Now you up in there with this. Because your body won't do what it's supposed to do. Shouldn't need this. This right here is the equivalent of the crazy stuff we do trying to conjure up God. Like he can be conjured up. You're supposed to be ushering in his presence. But we be trying to conjure him up. We jump, we shout, we scream, but we don't live the life that we're supposed to live. That's why we treat God, we treat bringing in the presence of God like a summoning. Okay, where was I? Perversion will have a key to your house. And it would come to your house at 9 p.m. between 9 and 11 o'clock or whatever time. It'd come there in the morning. It spend the night with you because typically men wake up, happy or expecting or happy. It'll be there in the morning. It'll be there in the morning. And honeymoon time, you're still in love with the guy who you thought he was. That's why you have great sex in the honeymoon. I'm breaking it down. I'm telling you what's happening. You want to know. You have amazing sex because you're still in love with who you think he is. You stop having amazing sex and you really stop not wanting sex. You start not wanting sex when you start getting introduced to who he really is. That's why the Bible says count the cost before you build a thing. But you didn't count it because you got high as a kite. You were high off of the lies. You allowed him to enter into your heart without testing the spirit. And so now you start sobering up. You got to count the cost. I can't do this for the rest of my life. I can't deal with his pride. I can't deal with his plans. He don't want to do nothing with himself. I can't deal with his ego. I can't deal with them whack sex experience. So when somebody talks to you about sex, you talking people. You got two types of women that are in these relationships. You got the ones that'll keep it real with you. They'll take, girl, go to college, visit the world, go learn another language before you get married. Then you got the ones who scheduling themselves to die early. I'm just kidding. But you got the ones that sit back and take, girl, don't listen to people like that. I'm trying to tell you right now. Ain't no perfect marriage. Get close to them. Get close to them. Their language changed. They are robots. They've learned to say what they're, because we were taught what happens in the house stays in the house. So they have to give you this. Girl, don't listen to people. The way I got Tyrone, boy, go sit down somewhere. I'm sorry. But girl, the way I got Tyrone, I've been doing everything the Bible say do. I mean, none of us perfect. That's why Tyrone ain't been in the church with you since 1994. Tyrone sitting at home playing the video games with a beer sitting next to him. And while you were at church, he was on porn websites playing with Mr. Winky. You get home, he already halfway asleep. You at church today? You having fun? Uh-huh. Did you bring me some home to eat? Yeah, I got some McDonald's in there. All right. I'll go get it in a minute. I'm gonna eat this and I'm gonna go to sleep. You know why he going to sleep? Because when you were having your worship experience and he was at home worshiping himself. Either that or he was on top of some other girl. All right. Number 10, your spouse won't understand the concept of faithfulness. Ain't it cheap? When you get into an idolatrous relationship, the probability of the person cheating on you is a lot greater. And I don't want to give a percentage, but I believe from me doing counseling, coaching, and working with people, and yeah, I believe that in 99% of the cases, the person is going to cheat on you. Because you will have the same encounter that you gave God. You will have the same encounter that you gave God. Do me a favor, like and share. Like and share. Your spouse won't understand the concept of faithfulness. Because faithfulness, let me give you a little revelation about faithfulness. It means consistency. And the only way you're going to be consistent in the thing is if you have faith, right? And so when you don't have faith, I think about I talked about Esther Prep University. You can sit here and say, I've had people to say, God told me to join this, but they won't stick around. Why? They didn't have faith. Why did they quit? Why did they become lackadaisical? Why? They didn't have faith. Because if it doesn't look the way that they want it to look, they think that I need to back off. Faithfulness is consistency. It means you move. Okay, I talk to people about this when it comes to churches. A lot of times people get frustrated with a church and they start talking about I need to quit, I need to leave, what have you. And I tell them, I said, listen, navigate the season of offense. Because in every relationship, you're going to have all of these seasons. You only move when God tells you, and it's clear, and you have your wise counsel, and God confirms it. That's the only time you move. You don't move from your feelings. You don't move around, because then you become a leaf in the wind, and God can't trust you. And when God can't trust you, He can't bless you or favor you the way He wants to. So consequently, you have to fall into the realm of regular. That means you're going to have the same thing that everybody else got that has the same measure of faith as you. So in order for God to trust you, you have to sit there and you got to be able to navigate a space when you deal. And I sent a message out to my students yesterday, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, where I talked about that. Because I noticed in the class we had, quite a few students that were missing. Like after a while, some people, this is a pattern of theirs. They'll start off really good. This is how they do on jobs. This is how they do in relationships. They typically start off really good. And then once they get to the familiarity portion, they fall back. Once they get to the familiarity portion, they don't do so well there. So they start navigating their emotions. They start putting their emotions back in the front seat. So they start saying, I don't feel like this today. I ain't going to class today. I'm quitting because I'm offended. I'm quitting because I feel rejected. I'm quitting because I feel this or I feel that. And then they start pulling themselves out. So I'm proud of students. I got students that came out and they say, hey, I felt that in the program. I felt rejected. I felt this, but I'm still navigating through it. And I'm really proud of them, because that's a natural part of you're pushing through. It's a natural part, is to feel that. But the ones that God can trust are the ones who sit back and they can come to class, and they be in class like this sometimes. We got our cameras on. But they navigate, but they still showed up. And that's what makes it so good. They still showed up, and they still showed up, and they showed up until this lifted. I've literally seen it. They showed up until slowly but surely. And then they come back into another season and they come to class and they're like, and then at some point we're gonna get back to that. But that's consistency. Those are the women that can be trusted in a marriage. Those are the women that are being developed into wives. The ones who will never reach the rim of a wife unless they change are the ones who are always moved by their feelings. They always obey their feelings. They put their feelings above the word of God. They put their feelings above their expectations. They put their feeling, not even their expectations, but even the laws of an organization. How many times I've had to tell people we got rules in Esther Prep University. This is a law. Well, I don't feel like, I don't give a we're not about to change the laws to navigate around how you feel. Well, can I have a refund? Witchcraft. Since you're not doing what I told you to do, and you're not making this thing go into what I think it should be, I will punish you. I will punish you. I will hurt you and send a condescending email, and don't even realize witchcraft is a work of the flesh. It's the reason God sent you was to deal with that, but we can't help you to deal with it when you come in and you can't even sit down for 1 month because you feel like everything's supposed to move the way you're supposed to. I got students in here that will tell you they've seen it. I got students that have went with me for over a year. We are in our second year. They're in Esther Prep 2.0. And they push through every season. Then you got students that can't even, I hate to get there. I got to get back in here. The students that didn't last, most of the students that didn't last long did not last a month. I noticed a pattern. It's a spirit of control. If it don't look the way I want it to look, if it don't feel the way I want it to feel, then I'm gonna put you on punishment. Hopefully my punishment will make you do what I want you to do, and then I can stay and say thank you. The devil is a lie. I'm a whole deliverance minister over here. I cast out spirits. I don't obey them. You would never catch me in a space where I'm like, oh my gosh, no. When I see something that's ungodly, bro, sis, we ain't going there. You can either sit down and you can learn and you can develop and you can get to that space that God's trying to get you to, or you can keep playing these games. But I'm not that person that'll give in. One thing I tell people, I'm not controlled by money. And they find out the hard way. Only a few of them, thankfully, but the ones that do, they find out the hard way. I ain't controlled by money. I'm not controlled by emotions. I'm not controllable. And I want y'all to hear me when I say this. I need every woman on here to hear me when I say this, because women typically deal with control, because women are a lot of times a slave to their emotions. We're not taught. And then we have an American system that teaches us that we're victims. And so a lot of times, a lot of women struggle with witchcraft. It's relational witchcraft. And they don't know it because it's normalized and everybody around them does it. And it's hard to get them to conceptualize that, baby girl, that's witchcraft manifesting in you. It is a work of the flesh. It doesn't mean you're a witch. It doesn't mean that you have an altar, but there's an altar in your heart. Because you keep trying to control people, and you have to get into a space where people teach you how to get your feelings. Your feelings are not supposed to be able to control you. That means whenever I feel a thing, I'm supposed to not do what my feelings tell me to do. If my feelings tell me to argue with, and I tell women like this, if I have to counsel them one-on-one, you wouldn't make a good wife. Because you are too busy being led by your feelings. And when you are acclimated to your feelings, you will have spirits. And they're going to keep on talking to you, and demons like to make sense. And the next thing you know, you'll get caught up in your intentions. I got good intentions. You got good intentions, but a bad heart. Good intentions, evil heart. I had good intentions for him. Oh, baby, that's why you get around women. Hear me, and I'm gonna get back into this. This is why you get around women, because the Bible says young women, older women, come out and teach the young women. You need to get into a space where you're led and taught by a woman. I'm talking about men. I'm not saying go get you a pastor that's a female. If that's where God leads you, that's good. If God leads you to a male pastor, female pastor, either way is good. But you also need to have a woman in your life that can teach you. A woman that has overcome that because she knows those games you're playing. You can't dress it up and tell me, Tiffany, no. You can't dress witchcraft up with me. I see it. I don't care what the devil tell you. I know what that is. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen it 1,000 times. All right, let's move on. Where were we? Your spouse won't understand the concept of faithfulness. Number 11, you can fail to fulfill your purpose in the earth. We all have an assignment. And the only way you get paid for an assignment is if you fulfill it. Or you can get paid for an assignment, but you'll get fired. Jesus said, because you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out of my mouth. You can fail to fulfill your purpose in the earth. Because if you get with the wrong man every time, or you get with the wrong woman, every time you try to do what God designed you to do, you're going to get into a fight. And they'll let you do little small things. You want to write a little article, but you ain't got nobody visiting your website, they'll let you do your article. It's spiritual. The war is not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of this world. I've seen men go through this, and I've seen women go through this. I've seen men that sat back and tried to write a book, and they went through hell in their house. Wife would not let them write. Wife will fight them every time they get to their keyboard. You not coming to bed? You ain't never asked me to come to bed. Why I got to come to bed now? Full of witchcraft. She never got that stuff taken care of. And brothers, hear me. If in her single season, she's still talking about women jealous of me, it's always like this everywhere. Don't marry that girl. Because she has not navigated. She hasn't learned how to have pure relationships. And when I say pure, I'm talking about pure, P-E-E-R, not pure, P-U-R-E. But she hasn't learned how to have pure relationships. And if she hasn't learned how to have pure relationships, she's going to make a horrible wife. Because she's going to be the victim every time. She won't take accountability. And she will not allow you to fulfill your purpose in the earth. And you want to know why she won't allow you to do that? To the brothers, I'm going to tell you why. And it's the same thing to the sisters. If you get with a man, he's not going to let you get with the wrong man, he ain't going to let you fulfill your purpose. The reason is because they start dealing with insecurity. They start being afraid that if you write that book, you may become a bestseller, because most of the time they deal with rejection. You may become a bestseller and you may become popular, and then you're going to realize, because you're going to see that they're not that great of people, or they think that you're going to feel that they're not that great, and you're going to walk away from them. They're afraid that you're going to dump them if you become great. So every time they see you doing anything, you come home and you say, babe, the Lord's been telling me to go ahead and build my website, because I need to go ahead and do this so I can take some speaking engagements. I need to do this. Website. How much that's going to cost? Well, I talked to a couple of ladies, and one lady said she'll charge about $799. Okay, we can't do $799. Well, we actually got it in the budget. We got it. We can't do $799 for a website. Why can't you build it yourself? Excuse me. Why can't you build it yourself? Because it's gonna look whack, and people are not gonna invest. Don't nobody know you right now. You can talk to what's that? Terry's son. I think he's still learning. I probably could do a better job than him. He's still learning. He's whack right now. But he charged, I think he said he charged $75 for a 5-page. Those are crackhead prices. But just go with him for right now until we can afford to get better. Meaning he will not let you fulfill your destiny or do it in excellence. Consequently, you end up with a whack-looking website, or you end up discouraged, so you don't do the website. You end up with this ugly website that you're too ashamed to share with the world. Or if you're deceived and blind, you'll share it with the world. And this guy gifts on there, spinning around, happy face. It looked like a hot mess. And now you can't share it because it's gonna look crazy. But next thing you know, he coming home. You ain't gonna believe what I did. They ain't gonna ask your permission. You ain't gonna believe what I did today. What? I'm gonna show you the car. I'm gonna show you something. Come on. He blindfold you like he about to give you a gift. Take you outside and show you the car. His car. He done put $1,000 or $1,200 on a pair of rims. $1,250 on a pair of rims. I'm just making this story up now. But this is something that actually happened. $1,250. Oh, so we got money for rims. What you talking about now? Oh, website. Oh man, don't come on with that. Don't come in here with that. So I can't do a $750 website that aligns with the purpose God has given me. I told you go do that yourself. I can't go put what you want me to do? Go get a bicycle supposed to put on the car? I wanted a pair of rims. I work hard. I deserve a pair. I deserve a website. Now you're in the house arguing because he doesn't want you investing in your purpose because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't know that part of you. He's not interested in that part of you. And spiritually speaking, that spirit in him does not want to see that part of you arise. War is not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of this dark world and spiritual wickedness in high places. You won't be able to fulfill your purpose because every time you try to do so, you go out there, you're like, you know what? I'm going to a retreat. It's a deliverance retreat. They're going to be teaching us to cast out demons because that's your purpose. But every time you call home, he ain't answering the phone. And now you got to deal with terror because you know what he's doing. Talk to a woman. A woman knows what her husband is doing. She got to deal with terror. It's late at night. It's 12 a.m. He still ain't answering his phone. What he's doing, that spirit in him is taming you. Every time you leave and try to do something, I'm going to have your husband out in these streets. So now every time somebody says, hey, we doing a retreat, I ain't going to be able to make it. Why? It's a lot of stuff. Because you become tame. You become afraid. Because you're afraid that when you leave, you're going to go through what you went through. You're scared. I'm going to go through. He's going to take me through it. He's going to put me on punishment. And the last time I was at that retreat, I could not focus. I was on the phone when it was my time to get up and give a presentation. I was whack. Like I was nervous. I was scared. They had to call me and tell me it's your turn. And I was 5 minutes late to my own presentation. And then because I was out in the hallway calling him, lost track of time, leaving a message on his voicemail. Tyrone, this is the 17th time I've called you. I'm not playing with you. I don't know why you're not answering your phone. Call me back. I don't know if you've been in an accident. I don't know what's going on. If there's something wrong, why aren't you answering my phone call? Give me a call back, please, and thank you. Ma'am, it's your time for your presentation. Oh, yeah. Oh, dang. I was supposed to present at 3 o'clock. It's 3:05. You go up in there, give that presentation, and you are not into it. You can't even focus. And then they give you this half clap. It's a slow clap. You're whack. Get off the stage. We're not interested in buying whatever you're trying to sell, even your God. And they take you off the stage. Great job, great job. Give her another hand. Come on, y'all. Y'all can do better than that. Thank you, thank you. You go back on out in the hallway. You check your phone, and the torment hits again because you were hoping that when you checked your phone, there would be a missed call. No text. You got to go back out there in the hallway, call them again. Let me call his mama house. Hey, how you doing? We good over here. Yes, ma'am. At the retreat. Yeah, he told you. Yeah. But have you seen Tyrone? He's not answering my call. Earlier today? Okay, so I've been calling him all day. He hasn't answered the phone. I don't know if his phone is dead. Oh, it's not dead. You called him, he answered. Okay, so now you got to ask his mama to do a strange thing. Could you call him on three-way? Because he's not answering my calls. Either that, you got to download a burner phone and borrow somebody else's phone. I'm giving you an inside view. I'm telling you, it's agony. Then his mom says, I don't know how to use three-way because she don't want to get involved. I don't know how to use three-way, baby. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. You end up downloading the burner app or walking up to somebody and say, can I use your phone? My phone died. You lying. Can I use your phone? Your phone, my phone died. I need to call my husband. They go, oh, absolutely. You get the phone, call him. He doesn't answer, then he calls right back. You know, before you get the phone ring, you look and it's him. You say, this is him. Can I answer it? Tyrone, why aren't you answering my phone? My phone died. How your phone died and you answering me right now? I just charged it up a little bit. What's up? Sister Lasagna, you're awesome. Thank you, sis. God bless you. What's up? I tried to call you last night. Where you been? I was home. Why you didn't answer your phone? You end up doing strange things because you're with somebody who is foreign to your purpose. You end up doing strange things. Okay, last one for this list. You can put yourself and your loved ones in danger. This is what it looks like to be in an idolatrous relationship. You can put yourself or your loved ones in danger. And this is the thing I told you. I wanted to read the story, but I didn't. I forgot it. But anyhow, where I think it said that this girl's ex had went and killed her family. And that's actually relatively common nowadays, where women will punish their family for not accepting their broken boyfriends, their broken husbands, their broken fiancés, their broken toys. They will, and then the family gets afraid, and they're so afraid of losing a relationship with their children to the point where they begin to tolerate Jezebel. They tolerate this thing, and the next thing you know, when she finally wakes up to see what the family already saw, now the family in danger. Not only that, she done went to the house and told her mama then plenty of times when they got into the heat of the relationship, he hit me in my eye. Now the parents can't stand him. Now he blamed the parents for the failure of his relationship. So when he decides to kill, he comes to the parents' house. Now he just shot up everybody. I'm going to say this. It's going to be controversial, and it will align with how I am as a person. So you may not agree, but that's your business. Okay? You can say, Tiffany, you don't have kids, but I can tell you this as a human being, as a person. I will love my kids. I will love them. But one thing I would never do is allow them to bring a broken person into my house and force me to accept them. Nope. If you're going to cut me off, cut me off. That's your lesson. I'll pray for you, but that's your lesson. You're going to cut me off. I won't go under the control of Jezebel. I don't care if it's materializing or manifesting in my kid. You're going to cut me off. I can't do, I ain't nothing I can do about that. I'm going to tell you what's right, and I love you, but I don't accept this dude. I'm sorry. Do what you do. That's your lesson, not mine. I'm here for you. When you need me, I got you. You need to call me, I'm here for you. But if you're going to cut me off, that's your decision. I am not going to conform so that I can remain a part of your life, because then I'm obeying a lie. And I'm not getting myself or any other people in my house killed because you want to be blind. I didn't raise you like that. That is your decision, your choice. I will cover you with the blood of Jesus. That's your lesson to learn. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about this. Sister Lasagna, I don't know if I said thank you very much. Why you may be desperate. Why are women desperate? Why are men desperate? Most of the time you don't find men that are that desperate, but women for the most part. I think that you have desperate men out there as well. I've come in contact with those type of guys in the past, but I don't think that there are many people out there doing ministries that center around helping men to navigate, relationships, because men typically are too prideful to show up for those type of events, because they don't want to admit that they're desperate, and especially in an environment or a time where there are a lot of women out there where they can just go out there and say, "Hey, I'm a man," and you're going to have 7 women surround you like, "Hey, I'm a woman. What's up?" You got a lot of desperate women. So why you may be desperate. Number one, you're full of voids. You have to deal with those voids. Now, voids represent darkness. They are empty spaces. Every void is a realm. Every realm is a kingdom. And within that kingdom, there's a throne, and God's supposed to sit on that throne. When God is not on the throne, the Bible says God is light, voids are darkness. So whenever God is not on that throne, there's going to be darkness. Where there's darkness, God, that means that God is not in that space. We are multidimensional creatures. I deal with that in my book, Relational Acuity. I can't wait to release that book, because it's such an ingenious book. It's so amazing. But there's going to be darkness, and there's going to be a throne. And that throne, when God is not in that space, there's no light, there's no darkness, but that throne cannot and will not be empty. So what ends up happening is demons come and sit on that throne. And demons create this thing called attraction, meaning that void becomes a black hole. Black holes have a gravitational pull, so it causes you to be attracted to certain people. Every demon is not just a demon of rejection, meaning it doesn't just cause you to reject people, but it is an expression of rejection. A demon feels, it is the embodiment of rejection. It feels it, and it marries its personality to your personality. So the next thing you know, let me show you one of the ways you are dealing with rejection, because then you're willing to settle for a man who's not that saved, and then you start arguing. Not everybody's perfect. No, we know everybody's not perfect, but you're trying to talk yourself into being with somebody that God did not call for your life, and you're lowering your standards because you're tired of waiting. So you keep saying, yeah, sis, I understand people can't have a past. This dude got a fresh tattoo on his neck, okay? And it says murder. Well, girl, we ain't always been saved. No, it still got grease on it. That means a new tattoo. See, that's the thing. Y'all be just judging. That's why folks don't like coming to church. Okay, go on. Now you want to fight the church. Because you're idol worshipers, I've learned, they will fight the heck out of the church. Please call me a liar. They will fight. They fight church ordinances, and they like to find people in the church who are twisted and wicked because they want to justify rebelling against God. They want to justify rebelling against God. Y'all church people, that's why when I hear that, baby, that's Leviathan. Leviathan sitting on the throne up in that particular room. I ain't finna fool with that. Sister King, God bless you. Thank you. I ain't finna fool with that. And Leviathan is not necessarily sitting on the throne. Well, yes, Leviathan may be on the throne because Leviathan's the king of the proud. Maybe the principality. And then it's got all these other spirits up in there, and you can't get through to the person because you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Person's not willing to hear the truth. They want nothing to do with the truth. All they want to hear, and they want to find people around that Tell them what they want to hear. So while you may be desperate, you're full of voids. Number two, generational idolatry. It's in your family. That was the case with me. It was an issue that was in my family. It was something that we wrestled with, and so you're raised in that environment, so it becomes normalized to you. You don't see anything wrong with it. Number three, imagination. Imagination-driven idolatry. Imagination-driven idolatry, meaning you have not learned to guard your heart. When God says guard your heart, he's talking about from spirits and people and spirits that try to get in you. Spirits get in through your imagination. That's one of the doors. This is why God says casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Whatever you don't cast down will ultimately have to be cast out. Whatever you don't cast down will ultimately have to be cast out. This is imagination-driven idolatry. You never cast down the thoughts. And the enemy, what he does is he keeps painting these images, these imaginations, and he gets you to bow down to the image. And you don't think you're an idol worship because you don't have something in front of you that you're bowing down to, but your heart is bowing down to the image. Number four, you need deliverance. It could be a demon. It could be a demon. But just to let you know, before we just want to blame everything on the devil, demons typically come where there are voids. So even though the devil may give you that appetite, as a deliverance minister, we may be able to cast the devil off the throne. But if you don't put God on that throne, the devil comes back because there's darkness and demons live in darkness. This is where a lot of people get messed up in deliverance. Is that, and I'm not saying deliverance messed them up. I'm saying they got a messed up perspective of deliverance because they want to get the devil cast out of the throne because he's attacking them in other areas of their life. But they don't put God on the throne. They don't put God on the throne. So the room remains dark. God is light. That's what the Bible tells us. God is light. So the room remains dark. So consequently, that throne, now you got a space without a king. It has no rulership. And when there's no rulership, the people fall. You're going to be confused in that area. You're going to make a lot of poor choices in that area. And a demon's going to say, hey, you got a man over there. Let me be your husband. Let me be your king. I got you. Number four was you need deliverance. Number five, parental or communal pressure. Especially if you come from the South, a lot of times the older women will put a lot of pressure on you to get married. They'll put a lot of pressure on you. You've been taught your whole life you were nothing. I remember my mom used to teach us, used to tell me all the time, you better learn how to cook, or what have you. And I remember staying on a chair when I was 5 years old and trying to help my mom cook greens. And that's a good thing. I'm glad my mom drove me to learn, taught me about cooking and cleaning or what have you. But she used that because that's what she was taught. She used marriage as a motivation. She used marriage as a motivation. She used marriage to tell, hey, no man gonna want you. Keep your room clean. No man gonna want you. All right. Parental or communal pressure. You're getting pressure from the old folks in your community. You ain't got no man yet, girl. He was a good man. I mean, ain't no man perfect. I can tell you, Ebenezer, when we first got together, Ebenezer used to be around. He went around the block and back. I got a couple of kids in this neighborhood that I kind of wonder, with that thing that GNA test, no DNA, DNA test. If I did a DNA test, I'm pretty sure that they Ebenezer's kids. But it's just how it is, okay, baby. You just gotta turn your head and look the other way and let God handle to fight your battles for you. You just gotta let God fight them, because Sister Trisha, you're amazing. Thank you. God bless you, sis. God bless you. You gotta let the Lord fight your battles. But you go and get with that man. But he hit me. Baby, just learn to duck. I remember, the Matrix thing. I learned how to Matrix. Ain't that, girl? Yes, ma'am. Gertrude, tell her. I learned how to Matrix before the movie even came out. I learned because half of the time Ebenezer be drunk. He do that little drunk fight. And I remember one time he swung at me. Girl, he swung at me. Them little drunk fight. Fist hurt. Girl, I did the Matrix. I hit him in the stomach. He passed out. When he woke up, he said, what happened? I said, you fell out. I told him, you walked through the door and fell out. He didn't remember nothing. I just dragged his limp body to the bedroom and laid him. I didn't even put him in the bed. Too heavy. I just left him on the floor beside the bed. Walked up and there was a roach on his forehead. I ain't even try to smash it. And now, you know what? I got my house shoe. I smashed it on his forehead. Just left his butt right there. You just gotta, go through. He got questionable tendencies. I think he may be a little bit. I think he has some sugar in his tank, Miss Gertrude. Oh, you think that's new? This homosexual thing that y'all got going? You think that's new? No, they were in the closet back in the day. I remember the time I came home and Ebenezer was in the bedroom and the bedroom door was locked. I said I came home from being out in the field and picking grains. I was picking grains and everything. I was working hard. I came home and the door was locked. I beat on that door. Ebenezer would not open that door. I went to the bedroom window because I was about to go in through the window because I said, I know he got a, what do you call those? I know he got a hussy up in there. I know you got a hussy. I went to that window. I was about to lift that window up and it came up on his own. I stood there and I said, let me see who come out that window. Girl, you wouldn't believe who came out that window. It was a whole man. It was his best friend. I looked, I said, oh my, Earl? He looked at me, he said, oh, Gertrude, what are you doing? Earl, what are you coming out the window for? And why you in your drawers? Oh, I was in the room. I was fixing. I'm not leaving out the window. I was fixing. Helping your husband fix something in the bedroom, and then my pants they got a stain on them, and that's why a stain. Let me look at. That's all right. They got a hole in the back part. So I'm about to go home. I was going out the window because I didn't want to go out your front door and be shamed. With that. No, why didn't Ebenezer give you a pair of his pants? No, I told him that was all right. Okay, well, and Ebenezer stick his head out the window. Get in the house. Why? Why your pants on backwards? They ain't on backwards. They is. I must have did that when I went to take a bath. Don't. Why you ask too many questions? You think I thought it was up in there fixing drywall? No, baby. Ebenezer and Earl was up in there doing it. That's what they called it back then. They were in there doing it. Or what they called it in Mississippi, getting booty. They were up in there getting booty. That's what they were doing. And that day for it, I knew that he was. I knew he was one of them. What you call them? Them gay. I knew that about him. I knew that about him. Why you think he never divorced me? He did not want me to put. He did not want me to put him on blast. All right. Why you may be desperate. Where were we? Parental or communal pressure. Number 6, survival mode. You're need driven. Need driven. And one thing I learned about survival mode, the enemy, he knew he's very systematic. He understands that 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4, 4 plus 4 equals 8, 8 plus 8 equals 16, 16 plus 16 equals 32. He understands that. So he understands that if I can get this in your life, this is what it's going to equal out to. He understands that. You may not understand it, but he understands it. And so what the enemy does is he understands if I can cause destabilization in your life in this area, this is what it's going to produce. Destabilization creates insecurity because we need security on a stable foundation. That's the only way you have security. When you're not on a stable foundation, then you're not going to have security. And when you don't have security, you're going to start looking for it. Sister Orlea, God bless you, sis. God bless you. God bless you. You're going to start looking for it. And so what that does is it causes you to further destabilize yourself by making poor choices, because whatever you sow, you will reap. And whenever you start reaping, the deception a lot of times is if you add religion on top of your reaping, or you add your faith and you have immature faith on top of your reaping, then you start blaming the devil, meaning you don't take consequences. You start trying to gaslight God. You start trying to gaslight God. Consequently, you keep having bad results. When you have a system of bad results, repeated bad results, it drives you into survival mode. It drives you over into survival mode. And whenever you are in survival mode, you start settling. You become manipulative. You settle. When you're in survival mode, you'll take somebody's husband. And you know what's amazing to me is the deception that when women do that and they think the man gonna be good to them. I've counseled some of y'all. Took somebody's husband. Okay, I gotta be honest with you. I gotta say the truth. The deception is when you think that he's gonna be good to you. When you come on the line, I can't believe all the stuff I did for him. How could he cheat on me? Easy. Same way he cheated on the other female. The same way he cheated on God with y'all. The man he's not faithful. Okay. Faithfulness comes from faith. We understand that. I want you to understand that we all have faith. Faith can go in one or two directions. It's where do you have your faith? Where does your faith lie? Where does your faith lie? Or it can be in three directions. Is it in the devil? If it's in the devil, it's going to probably be in the witchcraft and stuff like that. Is it in yourself? Or is it in God? You're going to have faith. But when you have faith in the devil or faith in yourself, you don't have faith in God. That's faithlessness in the kingdom of God. So consequently, God won't supply all of your needs because you don't have faith. And without faith, you cannot please God. So consequently, you live in this thing called survival mode. Survival mode. And so you are need driven. I gotta take care of these kids. I gotta get this rent paid. Because see, God ain't blessing you because you're outside of his will and you can't get an inheritance while you're in another kingdom. You can't reap the benefits of two different kingdoms. So you're over in the kingdom of darkness as a Christian and your light is flicking on and off, which lets demons know to attack you. And the next thing you know, you're over there and you're not getting your needs met. So now you got to get manipulative and play games. You know how many Christians go into fornication because they're need driven? I tried that abstinence thing, but like they said, closed legs don't get fed. May not say it out loud, but that's what you're thinking. Need driven. Need driven. Girl, I stopped trying it. I got bills over here. Number 7, retaliation. Every relationship I found is a response to your last relationship. There's a domino effect that a lot of people are unaware of. There is a domino effect that happens whenever you don't get sanctified. Sister Devonna, you're awesome. Thank you, sis. God bless you. But when your need, retaliation. So if I'm in a relationship with Tyrone and Tyrone cheats on me, what our system teaches us to do is to blame Tyrone. It's his fault. Our relationship ended because he was a slut. Okay. I'm tired of this. Then I go and get a relationship with Jerome. Jerome seems good. Jerome said, yeah, I can't stand no wimpy boy. You're like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you. Now, believe it or not, Jerome is a Tyrone, a spinoff of Tyrone, because typically women, tell me if I'm lying, women tend to be attracted to men who remind them of their exes. It is a domino effect. It sets the stage. It creates the appetite. We are addictive by nature. So a lot of times once we come in contact with a spirit and then we become familiar with it, we date the same demon in a different person again and again and again. He reminded me of Tyrone being a lot better looking. Plus he loved his mama. That's good. But let's make sure that he doesn't have an idolatrous relationship with his mother. Because he got to cleave to his wife. I mean, he got to have a good relationship with his mom, but he got to cleave to his wife. That means his mama can't run your house when you get married. Mama can't run your house. Most relationships are retaliation or a response to a former relationship. Tyrone left. That's all right. I'm with Jerome now. Jerome leave, and you find yourself in a relationship with somebody who embodies some parts of Jerome and Tyrone. It's a response. It's a domino effect, and it keeps going. It's a domino effect, and it keeps on traveling throughout your life, and you end up never knowing what it's like to truly be loved by a man. Because you keep going after the same demon in a different person. You have a type. This is what a type is. Understanding the world, the whole thing of type. It's just the type of demon that you're in love with. That's all. It's a familiar spirit. It's a familiar spirit. You feel comfortable with that spirit. That's why you sleep with it within a week or two. I usually don't do it this fast. I don't know. It's just something. It was not supposed to happen. You know, you lying. It wasn't supposed to happen. It was just I normally don't do anything like this, but it was just something about you, and I just felt so comfortable with you. No, no, you've been in a relationship with that spirit for a while. Okay, you've been in a relationship with that spirit for a while. That's why you felt comfortable. That's why you felt comfortable. You felt like you knew him. You do. You actually do. You know that spirit. You actually do. You know that spirit in him. So that's why you were comfortable. You got around him. I don't know why I just feel so comfortable with you. I feel like I can tell you everything. I can take off my lashes and get comfortable with you. I've never done anything like this before. I can't believe I gave it up so quick. I've never. You know you lying. You know you lying through your teeth, and he gonna play right along. He been saying, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." Cradle your head right here. Suck a nipple while you're at it. You cradle your head. It's okay, it's okay. You never done that before. Can't believe he ghosted me. When I'm on TikTok, I'm oftentimes very surprised at the logic of the world. But I'm actually even more surprised when I see Christians still eating that logic. Lady on TikTok comes up, obviously she's in the world, talking about another man that ghosted her that she met on Bumble, and she told him before she gave it up, I just want to request this one thing of you. If you're gonna ghost me, because this has happened to me multiple times, wait. Before I go this next step with you. If you're gonna ghost me, the only thing I request is that you text me. Send me at least one text message. He said, no, I would send you two. And I thought we had a connection. We talked, we cried together. It was just amazing. It was beautiful. And we did our thing. We talked the next day. And then a couple of days later, he ghosted me. So, Jacob, this is for you. This is for you. In the world's mentality. Like, you okay with being ran through? Gosh. Even when I was in the world, I didn't want that rap. I was like, nigga. But that's what the enemy wants. He wants women who are not just women who are loose. Because a promiscuous man is just as nasty as a promiscuous woman. That's what the Bible talks about, that stench. It's in the health department. Because your body is always sending out the warning that your heart did not accept. Your body's always saying, oh, okay, I don't go there. Retaliation. It is a response to your last relationship. And in your last relationship, it's okay, that's all right. I'm going to get me somebody. And he going to regret losing me. Because somebody going to come into my life and he going to love me and the Tyrone going to look. That's why we love those movies where a woman gets dumped and she gets hurt, she gets cheated on, she gets mishandled, and we over there yelling at the dude on the camera. And Hollywood capitalizes on our ignorance. And then at the end, she ends up meeting somebody. He loves her. He treats her so well. And right when he started loving her, and he starts fighting through all of her rabies, pit bulls, and demons and issues, because she keeps trying to push him away because she's been hurt. This man, he fights his way through it, clawed up, had to go through hell. I'm not going to walk away from you. I love you. He always in the rain. I love you. And I don't know what that old jack punk Negro you had in the past did to you. But baby, just let me love you. I'm going to be here. You're going to leave. No, I'm not. I won't leave you. And we at the TV. And we got a man on our mind. Tell me online. And right when she starts getting in a relationship with him and they start loving on each other, old Tyrone show up. He hear about her or he spot her out or what have you. So he just makes his way. He tries to slither his way back into her life. He tries to slither his way back into her life. First things first, he has to sabotage her relationship with old boy. And we over there because we get to see it. Girl, don't you fall for that. Ooh, tell him. Ooh, no, you did. Ooh. They break up for a minute, and we over there mad at her because now she tolerating Tyrone. Then she finally have a wake-up call. She get rid of Tyrone, and she called the knight in shining armor back. And our hope is restored. Our faith in humanity is restored. Love truly does exist. It's like a wild bird. It's that raven that Noah released from his ark. We all had our ravens, but when he released the dove came back. We got tired. We released our raven. Ah, it was gone. It went in the wind. It never came back. It didn't even have any place to land. It didn't have a place to lay its head. It just did not come back. Yeah. Ah, it was gone. But when we released our dove, it kept coming back. It even brought us an olive branch. It came back. When I was rude and mean and nasty and condescending and vicious toward him, he still came back. He had one eye, but he came back. And he fought through my insecurities and he proved his love. And at the end of the movie, we watch as the new man, the knight in shining armor, he gets on one knee and he proposes. And we believe in love again. And we say it was a good movie. Because in the movie, at the end, he kicked Tyrone's butt. I'm talking about he kicked Tyrone's butt. Tyrone had a black eye and everything. And then when he was trying to get in his car, he got hit by a bus. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. But you know what? We Christians, so we don't want him to die. So, at the end of the movie, we're going to make sure he live. But he's just probably in a vegetative state in a wheelchair. That way, the movie has to end like that to kind of give you a sense that you ain't got to worry about her going back to him. Show romance comedies. I love y'all. Retaliation. Number 8. Number 8. A need for affirmation. You're supposed to get that from God. You get that from good people that God will bring leaders into your house, pastors after his own heart. All of that. You get that through life, through your wise counselors. Through your wise counselors. Stop with these movies. Listen. But through your wise, you get that over the course of life. But when you need affirmation, you will get into a relationship looking for that affirmation. Let's move on. Number 9. Unquenched lust. Don't awaken love before it's time. You play bouncy house with a dude or two, and now lust is awakened. And you know what? It's a false intimacy, but it feels like intimacy nonetheless. Matter of fact, it feels really good because you are able to have relationships with dudes while you're in the honeymoon stage, meaning you never really get to know them. You get to keep dating the man in your imagination, which allows your body to actually respond. So you end up having a good sexual single life. Am I making sense today? Because I watch people close out. I watch people come in. Like and share. But unquenched lust, it sets the stage for you to be just constantly dealing with lust. Now you're sitting there and you can't keep your hands off yourself. Unquenched lust. That door got open and you don't know how to shut it. That door got open and you don't know how to shut it. Unquenched lust. This is the reason why you may be desperate. You are centering your whole relationship or your desire for marriage around wanting to have legal sex. Wanting to have legal sex. Number 10, last one for this list, and I got one more list, and I'm going to let y'all go. Desire for wedding and children. And this is where I get to warn the brothers. Do you know a lot of women idolize the wedding and the birthday? They want marriage and children because of rejection. They idolize the image that they see in their jobs, or most of the times a communal place like a church. So when you see a woman getting married in the church, we celebrate her, right? Then when she announces she's pregnant, we celebrate her. We see her stomach coming out, we celebrate her. When she has a baby, she announces, we celebrate her. A lot of women idolize that image. And I'm going to tell you what happens with those type of women. That's my brothers. Ladies, you got to still love me when I tell them the truth. Because a lot of you got to get delivered from that. You are not thinking about the marriage. You're not even getting counseling to make sure you're ready for the marriage. You're not sitting in a space and getting through all of those seasons of your feelings. You're not doing none of that. You're just idolizing and thinking about the wedding dress, the wedding itself, and when you become a mother. What women like that do is they love bomb men, they get the wedding, they get the kid or the kids, and then they toss a man like a booger in the wind. Once they get married to him, he becomes obsolete. No more need for you. Unless she wants to mate again. Tyrone! Tyrone! Come up in here. Yes, desert. Come up in here. Take off your drawers. You already know. Mommy. Desire for wedding and children. Right, toss them in the trash. A lot of guys don't realize that you better check that spirit. You better test it and wait and pray. Because she will turn around, right? Black widow. That's all she wants. She wants a wedding and a child. And I've known women like that. And they do this right here. As soon as a man proposes. They ain't doing this for you. This ain't got nothing to do with this crap. No. Oh my gosh. Fantasy coming true. But she gonna eat you alive. She gonna eat you because she don't want you. She won't marry. She want the wedding. She don't want marriage. She want the wedding. And she want to have a child or two. She wants what she idolizes, what she has coveted, what she has been jealous of with other women. She saw the girl coming to church pushing her baby stroller with her man on her side. And she stood there and she watched. And she wanted that. And she kept trying. She dated. She did this. She did that. None of it worked. So she had to lower her standards to get a man. It ain't gonna work because she lowered her standards. We got to be satisfied as women in order for us to be happy, period, point blank. We got to have somebody that we actually want. No, she'll lower her standards. Meaning a lot of times she'll go into the world to get her due. She'll go into the world to get her due. She'll go get somebody who's double-minded or unsaved because she's tired of waiting. She don't want nothing to do with the dude. He's all about the wedding. This is why after she get married to him, she ain't studying that dude. Wedding night. She on camera. Hi. Hello, everybody. Baby, you supposed to be in there humping. Where's Tyrone? He went for a walk to cool off. You ain't nothing to her. Nothing. You were a means to an end. You were a means to an end. Next thing on the list, wedding. It's gonna be a little bit fun, your honeymoon. Don't worry, because she's now the next thing on the list is a baby. Once that's fulfilled, go sit down somewhere. Your house is about to become a desert. You're gonna have eagles flying around up in there. Like, ah! All you're gonna hear it's gonna be a desert. Desert. Desire for wedding and children. This is why you may be desperate. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It's a desire for wedding and children. You got the little, what do you call them, little dust balls and hay balls rolling by in your house. Dude ain't seen his wife in the bedroom in 2 months. Are we gonna know? You gonna try fixing something? Maybe I told you I'm gonna get to that. Okay. Signs that you're desperate. I'm gonna move through these real quick because I want to go. Ooh, gosh, yeah, I gotta move through these quick. Signs that you're desperate. Looking at the eagle. Right. Signs that you're desperate. You can't stop thinking about marriage or your wedding. I'm gonna move through these fast, guys. You can't stop thinking about marriage or your wedding. Every thought you have is about wedding, 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 marriage, marriage, marriage. All this, how he gonna look, what he gonna be like, or what have you. You got fantasies. You done driven in the car with him in your head. You done been all over the place with him in your head. You done visited your wedding the day before went there. The Bible says, "Take no thought for tomorrow, for sufficient for today is the trouble thereof." You ain't listening to that scripture because it don't apply to you in your mind. Number two, you think that every man that shows you interest or shows you his teeth is your husband. You think that every man that shows you interest or he smiles at you. I know what it feels like to be a hopeful, right? To sit up there and have a guy say hello. And sometimes you can read too much into that. That's why you ain't flirting with me until you make it clear. You just not. I don't care. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care. You grab me by my face. You ain't flirting until you make it clear. Because women read into everything. All he got to do is show you his teeth. Hey, how you doing? Hey. Girl. And what we do, you're going to take him home in your head. And this is where the control starts. You're going to animate him in your head. Poor dude don't even know what he in for. You're going to start replaying. Come on, ladies. Y'all, I'm here. I love you. Tell me I'm lying if I'm lying. You're going to take him home, animate in your head, and you're going to make him everything you want him to be. You're going to replay that moment when he smiled at you. You're going to notice things in your mind that you didn't notice. Ooh. He could be flirting, but a lot of times they ain't. A lot of times the dude just being nice. Women, we read into everything as flirting. If a sister smiled at you, is she flirting with you? No. But we sit up there, if a man flirt, if he smiles, he come up and he say, hey. And don't let him do that consistently. Go to church, every other dude like, hey, what's up? He like, hey, how you doing? Somebody come over there and be like, hey. You're like, hey. He could just be being friendly to you, but no. The woman gonna try him on for size up here. She gonna imagine what she gonna do. You know what I think I'm gonna do with him? Because he be walking with a hip switching his hips. I'm gonna introduce him to Thug Killer. Because I think he can kind of help him to get that out. The kind. Yeah, you and him and Thug Killer gonna be up in there killing it. But women, we animate them. Sometimes married men flirt. Sometimes it's not flirty. Sometimes people are being nice, which is why a lot of men have to be mindful with today's women, because today's women a lot of times are so desperate that they say everything is flirting. Now, you do have married men that flirt because a woman didn't wait. That wasn't supposed to be a husband. The difference between a husband and a man. If you marry a man, he becomes a married man. If you marry a woman, she becomes a married woman. But they're not wives and husbands, not by God's definition. So if she marries somebody that's not consecrated, and trust me, it's not a flattering thing to be flirted with by a married man. It's actually offensive. Because the only thing you can offer him is sex. So he's actually, if he's trying to get with you, the only thing he's saying is, will you be my blow up doll? I can't make a commitment. I can't pay your bills. I can't do none of that. Can you be a free prostitute? The only thing I want to give you is a compliment here and there and a promise that I'll leave my wife. I can gaslight you and love bomb you. Leave you at home single, paying your own bills, trying to figure it out, trying to raise kids that I don't even want. Okay. You think that every man that shows you interest or his teeth is your husband. I dreamt about him last night. You dreamt about him because you thought about him. He's on your mind. Your soul tries to clean itself out every night. You know that, right? Your soul has a cache. It tries to clear the cache, especially whenever it is over full. Like if it hasn't cleared the cache for a while, it starts trying to clear the cache. It starts vomiting stuff up. And you in your sleep smiling. I think he the one. I dreamt about him. I done dreamt about dudes, and I promise you, I don't read into the dream. I say, that's interesting. But I don't read into the dream because every dream has a meaning. If it has a meaning, if it's prophetic, then you know what? God will bring whatever is right to pass. All I gotta do is stand in his will. But If it's not prophetic, it could be soulish or demonic. It could be soulish or demonic. So I'm not gonna get up from the dream and say, "Oh, I think I know who my husband is." No, I don't. Genuinely don't. And I ain't trying to figure it out. All right. Number 3, you're willing to throw away your friends, family, and your pastor if the right man comes along. And I put right in parentheses. And when I say right, it's right in your eyes. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof leads to death. Leads to you getting your brains blown out, getting tossed into the trunk of a car and backed up into a river. And every woman knows women like that. It's common. We know women that will make friends with us and be friends with us for 5, 10, 15 years and then toss us the minute they get in a relationship. Toss us. I mean, we've seen them through many relationships. But when they get into one where the guy seems promising, he seems serious, all he got to do is say, "I don't like your friend. I don't like your pastor. I don't like your mama. I don't like your daddy. I don't like your kids." And they will toss you to hold on to that dude. And not in most cases like that, the man is a narcissist. I would say 99% of the cases, the man's a narcissist. They'll get in a relationship with that narcissist, run their tail off into the sunset, get rid of you, and then they'll try to resurface whenever things don't work. Try to resurface when things don't work. Number 4, you rarely watch videos about anything other than relationships. I come on here talking about demonology or holiness, I don't see you. Pastor saying, "We're doing a series, and so this week we're going to be talking about money management," and your seat is empty. You don't come to church and place in things like that because it's talk about finances, money, development is boring to you because it's not dealing with your itchy ears. You get to the scripture, you fall asleep on anything unless it starts talking about husbands and wives. Now, when you read something about marriage, you sit up. 1 Corinthians. Oh, I don't know if I've seen that. It's idolatry. Number 5, you know every leader and or influencer who's leading the singles movement. You know, there are different types of leaders, there are different categories, and I have my thing about that, which is it's not bad. But I think I would say my thing about that is that a lot of times when you fall into a certain category, sometimes you can be very dismissive or even condescending toward another category because everybody, whenever God is called or anointed you to a certain area, sometimes it's easy to become an extremist in that area. And there's nothing wrong. You become, that's your thing. And it's good, but it takes a level of maturity for you to understand. For example, that minister is called to preach about money, for example. So we tend to label them prosperity ministers, but people in that church typically break out of out of poverty. I got saved in a church like that. God was there. I believe God is still there. But it's a good church. But then you have the minister that's into healing that says the prosperity minister is this. And prosperity minister look at the healing minister and say, "Oh, y'all, no, we all represent multiple sides of God. And we come together, we be, oh gosh, unstoppable." So you have people in the prosperity church that are dressed well. They got their nice hats on. They got the fancy pointed bras on, and everybody looks good and driving Mercedes Benz and Lexuses and not the Rolls Royce because that's a little too sporty. But a Cadillac, Lincolns, and all that other stuff in the parking lot. You get to the healing ministry, you got people. They got you got a lot of cars. You got a couple of the cars that don't even start in the parking lot. That's why you got some mechanics up in the church. They make a good dime. They make a good dime up in there. They got to be out in the parking lot trying to get your car to start. Put your foot on the metal. But where was I? You know every leader. That means you're not getting revelation in every spectrum because you have a diet of nothing but carbs, but you're not getting the greens and the fruit and everything else that you need, a balanced diet, because a balanced diet helps you to stay away from idolatry. You need to learn about healing, demonology, holiness. You need to learn about all of those things You need to learn about all of those things. But when people who are wrestled with adultery, you know every person that's in the singles movement. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're good. A lot of them are great, godly people. They're ordained for what they do. But that's the only part of your diet. Your diet is centered around relationships. It's centered around teachings about relationships. How to get the man of God. You done took femininity classes. They done told you, you know what? You've been getting the wrong bra for your breast. You're walking around here with these double D's. You can't wear Kmart bras. You're going to have to go to Vicky's Secrets. Not Victoria, but Vicky's Secrets. You can go to Victoria's Secret. You can go to Vicky's Secrets. And you're going to have to get some. They got some really good bras. You know, they got. Now you over here decorating yourself like a Christmas tree because you want a man. But your heart is like, it looked like Freddy Krueger on crack. And let me say this before I move on to the next one. If you want favor with God, you want blessings with God, you want God to be attracted to your heart, you want your heart to be beautiful. I'm telling you right now, you want your heart to be beautiful. I'm talking about not the stuff you do in church, out of church. That's what God looks at, the stuff you do behind the scenes, the integrity part that people don't see. That's how you attract the favor of God, the blessings of God, is what you do behind the scenes. A $70 Vicky's Secret bra, but you get $10 off your next purchase. You get $10 off your next purchase, and you get a second Vicky's Secret bra for $60. And if you get a third one, they'll even throw in a bottle of cheap perfume. Right? He is attracted to a pure heart. And I tell you right now, if you want the favor of God, you want the blessings of God, you want God, I'm telling you, if you want God, the protection of God, you want God to fight your battles, you want God to stand, oh man, get a beautiful heart. Work toward that. Work toward that. And the only way you get there, you got to study your word. You got to get into a place. You got to be offended and sit there. You got to sit still and let God work on your heart. And you know every leader in the singles movement, but you don't know nobody in deliverance or healing or what have you. You don't know nobody over there. You just be like, I got to tune in. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with them. They are great. They're anointed for what they do, but you need to have a balanced diet. If you don't have a balanced diet, you are in idolatry. Number 6, you seek after prophets, hoping to get a love reading. Prophets are not witches. Y'all hear me? Prophets aren't witches. Stop treating them like witches. You're turning a lot of them, you're getting a lot of them in trouble because they're feeling the pressure to tell you what you want to hear. You seek out the prophets hoping to get a love reading. You don't want to hear God said you're not spending time with him. God says he's about to take you through a season where he's going to starve your idolatry. You don't want to hear that. You'll call him a false prophet. You want to hear there's a man coming into your life. I see him. He's cockeyed, but God said he's going to straighten up his eye. God made him cockeyed so no other woman would want him because God knew what he was going to do for you. But God's going to straighten up his eye right after you get with him. So hold on. And God's going to raise this man up in your life. And the Lord said he's going to bless you. He's going to take you. And that gene for cockeyedness, he's going to cast it out. So you're not going to have to worry about your kids being cockeyed. Now, the first one, his eye going to go to the corner a couple of times, but it's going to straighten out by the time he's 3. So I want you to hear me. Now, God said he's going to do this for you. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear God saying houses, cars, all that. God said he's going to bring a man in your life. You're going to have a twitching first, but God's going to deliver his hips. You're going to deliver his hips. He just never felt the need to walk like a man. He's going to twerk. God's going to deliver him. You're going to take that twerking out of him. Matter of fact, I see a fire. I see a bonfire. I see a fire. I think it's a grill. One of these days, he's going to be twerking and he's going to burn his booty on the grill. And that's going to be it. You're going to walk like a man. Because we love those stories of victory. And you in front of that prophet with your hands stretched out crying. Let a prophet come to you. Let a prophet come to you and tell you the truth. The Lord says it's not your season to be in a relationship. He says, seek him first. You hear me? Seek him first. You don't even remember the prophecy. Because it ain't what you wanted to hear. You seek out the prophets trying to turn them into witches. You want a love reading. Tell me what does it look like? You know, it's funny. I don't think I've gotten a prophetic word about a husband in a while. I got one sister in Christ. Whenever she talks to me about husband and what she sees. But I see her at church. But most of this, I don't get that. Most of my prophecies deal with my assignment. But whenever I was caught up in the whole thing about marriage, most of my prophecies were about a man. You keep looking for prophets for a love reading and turn these people into witches. Or you're trying to. Number 7, you struggle with lust and masturbation. Lust and or masturbation. It's a sign that you're desperate. Because you won't wait. You won't wait till your next season. Let God, you won't sit up there and starve that flesh, kill that flesh, crucify that flesh. Let it die. No, 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 no. You must feed your horniness. If you get horny, excuse me. I don't know what I ate. But you struggle with lust and masturbation. Them fingers are yours. And you over there masturbating in that church, you over there. Edible, girl, if you touch me. Girl, if you touch me. He kaya. Don't eat kaya over here. Go over there. Them fingers you got up this morning, this Sunday morning, this great and glorious Sunday morning, and darn near knocked yourself back out in that bed. Sat there and played with yourself and then got up out the bed, went and took a shower. Now you want to eat kaya. You don't even know the laws or the rules of laying hands. You don't know none of that. You just want to come eat kaya. Come toward me with that. You will get embarrassed. You eat kaya, girl. Back over there. No, ma'am. But Tiffany, it ain't like God is still with me. Yeah, he maybe. I'm not saying you ain't saved. I'm saying there's some other stuff there. And you ain't putting your hands on me. That's what I'm saying. Number 8, you've never dated with your clothes on. You've never dated with your clothes on. Every relationship the only time you date with your clothes on, and correct me if I'm wrong for those of you who've struggled with fornication. I used to struggle with it, so I understand. But tell me if I'm wrong for those of you who are still struggling with it. The only time you manage to be abstinent is when your dude look like a llama. You can tell him though. Tell me. Tell me. Only way you not abstinent. Dude can't look halfway decent. Your clothes come off. Your clothes come off. But when he looked like a boa constrictor, he got them eyes like a snake. It's something about them eyes, girl. You like to look at guys that look evil. He looks so mischievous. No, you can see his demon because you are discerning, but that's attractive to you because you're still attracted to that spirit. I just told on you. I just told him. He looked mischievous. It's something about he got the look that kind of make him look dangerous. It's a demon. You got the spirit of discernment. That's okay. It's a demon. But you like that spirit. He come look at you. Eyes stretched way out here. Looking like a modern day alien. And you like that. You like that. He looked like an alien that's been on this planet for a while, and he didn't hang it out in the hood and got some muscles. Looked like a ripped demon. Now you're like me, a bad boy. How? Were you supposed to be a good girl? Oh no. It's just something because you ain't consecrated. Somebody said young bucks back in the day. Because you ain't consecrated. Girl, he just look. That's why they can't even walk into our churches. When they just in their beginning part of a process, when they first have the note, they can barely even say G. Ooh. Can't take your man of God to church when you dating him. No. That's like throwing a lollipop in an ant pile. Can't do that. I started dating God, look, bro. If he ain't in my church, don't you come here after we engaged. No, I'm kidding. He'll come there. It's a good test of character, isn't it? Don't run from him. The right one's coming. You want to wait on the message here is wait on the right one. It will not even wait, grow into the right person, so the right one you'll meet him. Go into all right, what was that? You never dated with your clothes on. Every relationship you've been in, he has seen your goodies. He has discovered your private parts. Every relationship you've been in. Number 9, you've dabbled in witchcraft or new age witchcraft, hoping to get answers about your soulmate. You've dabbled in witchcraft. A lot of this stuff is popularized because there are people out here who are desperate. One of the works of the flesh, you can find it out in the book of Galatians. It talks about the works of the flesh. I think it's Galatians 5, but it talks about the works of the flesh. One of the works of the flesh is witchcraft. Now, witchcraft is the work of the flesh until if you keep dabbling in it, it becomes spiritual. So then, you can immediately go into the spiritual side, or a lot of times it's the work of the flesh. And a lot of people go into new age because they want a love reading. They want to know, what can I do how do I get my twin flame? No twin flame, you're going to attract a demon. You want to attract a demon. You want to attract a narcissist, a demonized man, a soldier of Satan with a penis. Anatomically correct. Verily, you have your reward. And you say, this is so much better than the church. Because when I was doing church and going to church every Sunday and doing all this stuff that they tell you up in church, like I told you, typically when people get into witchcraft, they slowly but surely they begin to despise the church. They start speaking against the church. It's a pattern. And when you've been in this for a while, you see how that pattern ends. It ends the same freaking way. I can tell you from start to finish how that's gonna end. That's why I roll my eyes at what y'all celebrate. I'd be like, y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. I done seen it long enough to know that demons have patterns. It's a pattern. You're gonna come against the church. You're gonna be really crazy about and talk about how it worked for you when you were no longer doing what the church told you to do. And you're gonna have a narcissist, or an Ahab, one or the other. Then you're gonna be teaching other people how to go and get them a demonized man as well. You're gonna have to do what I did, girl. I stopped listening to the church. No, just say you stop listening to the Bible. Don't lie on the church. Don't try to make it a people thing. It ain't a people thing. It's your Bible. You're saying the Bible didn't work, and it actually does. The Word of God works, but God has this uncanny knack of looking at your heart. And when He sees idolatry, He doesn't feed that. See, your heart has all these mouths and these appetites or what have you. And there are certain things that God feeds, and there are certain things that He starves. But if you don't starve it, you'll keep feeding it, and God's not going to feed it. He's not going to feed your idolatry. He's just not going to do it. So you can be abstinent. You can do all of that stuff. But if God looks at your heart and say your abstinence is centered around wanting a man, He will not give you a man. He won't give you one. You'll go 20 years. waiting on a husband, wearing a chastity belt, saying all the right stuff and doing the works because you're still in the Old Testament in your drawers. You're still in the Old Testament over there. You have not had faith. Everything you're doing is a work. And God's trying to starve that. But nope, you get frustrated. Next thing you know, you want a witchcraft to get it. And you start feeling like it don't work. Witchcraft start making a whole lot of sense when it's telling you what you want to hear. Number 10. You hate or despise leaders who preach the truth. You only follow people who tickle your ears. I want to speak to those of you who are called to speak the truth. Speak it. And stop trying to be accepted. Because you'll mess around and you'll start renouncing the gospel and preaching a gospel that makes people feel good. You'll start telling people, girl, and it's how you know you're wrong, because you got to look around. Girl, I'm girl, do you bow worship? Do you? When I first got with Tyrone, girl, me and Tyrone did it in the church bathroom. What you talking about? And look, hold up. I gotta switch rings. I gotta switch rings. No, I got it on here. And look, we engaged to be married now. No, that's not engaged to be married. The demon is engaged to enter into a legality with you. I talk the language of deliverance. I'm sorry. That demon is saying, I want a legal right to do all the damage I want to do to her brain. I want a legal right. I want to be in a house with her full time. I want to legalize it so I can take her and I can accuse her before God and say I have a legal right to her. Y'all don't think demons speak that language? They do. When you cast them out, they talk like that. I have a legal right. Well, you can always tell one thing about us: when you get into the ministry of deliverance, you become very mindful. You become a lot more intentional because you start seeing demons that you cast out and how they got in and what they do to people, and you like, I ain't gonna open that door. Number 9, you dabbled in witchcraft or new age witchcraft, hoping to get answers about your soulmate. So signs that you are an idol worshiper. Number 10. You hate or despise leaders who preach the truth. You only follow, that was one I was on. You only follow people who tickle your ears. You only like the leaders that tell you all of the nice stuff, the cotton candy, that prophesy husbands and wives and money into your undeveloped soul. And God can be very well telling you. You know, I've learned one thing about God. God is futuristic because he doesn't live in time. So God can talk to a broken soul and tell you his intentions for you. He can tell you there's a husband, there's a car, there's a house, there's all that. But that doesn't mean that's happening today. It doesn't even mean that that's going to happen within the next 5 years. Like I said, y'all better stop trying to turn God into your personal genie. Number 11, your abstinence is a transaction. Your abstinence is a transaction. I mean, you are abstaining not because you love the Lord. Now, don't get me wrong. You should abstain. You should abstain. You should not be having sex outside of marriage. Let me say this, because abstaining can be abstaining from sex when you're not married. You should do it, and it should be a work when you are not in your New Testament yet, as it relates to that. Your Old Testament is when you don't know the word, so that you can have faith in the word. So you will be in the Old Testament in the beginning of your walk. But you got to come out of it. You got to go up at some point. Your abstinence is a transaction. That means you're doing it because you want a husband. So now your prayers look like this. God, I've been abstinent for a year, 6 months, and 2 days. I've been absent a year, 6 months, and the Lord's like, dang, you kind of like that? A year, 6 months, 2 days, and 8 hours. Where's the man of God? God's like, that doesn't qualify you for a husband. It qualifies you for peace. You ain't losing your mind. You know how many women are going to watch this or who are they on the edge of their sanity because they're in a relationship with God, someone God didn't put into their life. And they gave up when you give up your body, you give up your peace. Why are you supposed to have a husband to cover you? You're supposed to have a good, godly husband to cover you. But your abstinence is a transaction. It's all about, it's something you're trying on for now. This is why when people make abstinence a transaction, it doesn't work. They always give it up. Always, always, always. When abstinence is a transaction, you will always fall out because at some point, 5 years down the road, 7 years down the road, you're going to bust it open for somebody because you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get tired of it not working for you. You're going to get tired of it and you'll get in a relationship with somebody who's going to seem like almost a perfect dude. You're going to have a few quirks, but you're going to say to yourself, you know what? Not everybody's perfect. So you're going to minimize it. You're going to lower your standards and you're going to know instinctively, idolatry is instinctual. You're going to know that I'm going to have to take it to the next level with him. So you're going to give it up. You're going to give it up. Because you've gotten tired of telling guys, I don't believe in sex outside of marriage, and then getting ghosted. You got ghosted. You know why? One, you should have took yourself off the market. You got to know, you got to have that relationship with the Lord so that you will know when to pull yourself off the market. You didn't know to take yourself off the market. You didn't know, hey, I need to spend this season chasing God. You didn't know that. And if you did know it, you ignored it. So you didn't take yourself off the market. Consequently, you put yourself on the market. And I tell women this all the time. It sets you up for a bunch of disappointment, perpetual disappointment. You're in this relationship with this guy, it doesn't work. You're in a relationship with this guy, it doesn't work. You're talking to this guy, it doesn't work. You're friends with this guy, it doesn't work. It becomes disappointing at some point. Then it makes you question whether you're doing things wrong when you're not. It's just not your season. And when it's not your season, that's not going to be your guy. But you're not willing to take that desire that you have and give it to God and let him crucify, and that be your offering, because that gives you the fuel to get through that season. You're not willing to do that. So over the course of time, when the enemy is done wearing down your standards, when he can pull down your standards, he can pull down your draws. I've seen women go 5 years, 6 years, 7 years abstinent and then get tired because they weren't truly abstinent. They were abstinent fornicators. They were just fornicators who were trying on abstinence to see if it fit them. Right, not worth the soul time. They're trying on to see if it fit them. And then they start realizing that it doesn't look good on them, or it's supposed to look good, but they're still wearing religion. And so the next thing you know, they get in a relationship with somebody and they say, forget it. Tired of it. I'm tired. I'm tired. Now they park somewhere on the dirt road doing naughty things. Giving it up. Sometimes they get dumped, ghosted, and they humiliated. Other times, the next thing you know, they're walking around and they have secured their Ahab or their narcissist. And they don't know it because they're on cloud nine, high as a kite. And you can't tell them. Once they get there, you can't say not a word. I learned you don't say a word. When a woman has gone under that spell, I don't say jack to her. I let her be, because that's her lesson. When she's ready, she'll come seeking the truth if she ever wants it. How did you, girl, I knew that one. Your abstinence is a transaction. Last one, and then we gonna go. Number 12, you're hurt or triggered whenever you get news that one of your exes has moved on or is married or has a child on the way. You're hurt or triggered whenever you find out that one of your exes, and you may say, well, how does that have anything to do with me being desperate for a relationship? Remember, I told you that, a lot of relationships are retaliation. They're a response to your last relationship. So a lot of times when you come out of a relationship, what ends up happening is you can become competitive toward the ex. It's all about see who get married first, who have a baby first, and who finds happiness first. It's retaliation. And I be feeling sorry for these dudes that be in marriages, or even the women. You're in marriages with somebody who's really using you to compete against another person that left them. So now they got you on camera kissing you. The kiss ain't even real. They kissing you and looking at the camera because they too busy, and that look is for their ex. Everything they do is for their ex. You are just a prop, a third wheel in that foolishness. You are a third wheel in that foolishness. You are a continuation of a love story gone bad, or a lust story gone bad, obsession story gone bad. But you're hurt or triggered. It should not bother you. First and foremost, you shouldn't even know if your ex has moved on. The only way you should know that if you got kids with them. And you should not be bothered when they do. You shouldn't be bothered when they do. You shouldn't be crying. You shouldn't be mad. You shouldn't be, girl, I'm just laughing. She about to get it. Why are you laughing at somebody that's about to go through some stuff? Because you still so tied to him and you still want him. I've said that to people in my life. I tell girl, you still want that dude. You think so? No, don't you? You still want him. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be obsessed with his life. Ask me about my ex's life. Ask me how much I know. I don't know a thing. Well, I don't know a thing. I was like, well, I came in contact with somebody, yeah, not related to him, but anyhow. But I don't know a thing. I don't inquire about. I'm not looking. I don't want to know. I'm not interested. You know why? Because that's what it looks like to forgive. Forgive means to wipe the slate clean. It doesn't mean to wipe the slate clean for what they've done. It means to wipe the picture clean in your mind where you instilled them, is to take that and say, you weren't supposed to be here, and I apologize for my role. Right? There's a stage when you shouldn't look, and there's a stage you should never look either way. But there's a stage where, yeah. But a lot of women go to seeking that stuff and they never let themselves heal. They keep ripping off the Band-Aid. Keep ripping out the Band-Aid. Girl, where he at now? Because he ain't called, he used to call me, he ain't called. Girl, you know he finna get married. Now your whole weekend ruined. Girl, why does that bother you? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it with my chest, and I'm going to get off of here. I don't understand. And I'm being genuine when I say this. I'm not being cocky. I'm not being silly. I genuinely, wholeheartedly don't understand when women get jealous of a man who was toxic, about to be toxic for somebody else. When I say this kind of stuff, I'm really saying I don't understand the concept of that. But that's just how I'm wired. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can somehow conjure up in your mind this thought that he's about to go and be a blessing for another woman when he was a burden to you. I don't understand that thought. Now, if the person is healed and they've done the work and they got themselves saved, got a purpose, that's a whole other creature. That ain't the person that hurt you. That's a whole other creature. That's how you have to end up the same spirit. He's a spirit in a body, but he's a whole other person. That's a good person. Either way, you forgive the person. But I've yet to understand how a woman can be in a relationship with a narcissist and cry that he's getting married to somebody else. That's like me getting angry that Satan, after being cast out, I'm not calling my ex a Satan, but this is just a thought. But it's like me being angry after hearing that Satan got cast out of my house, that he found somewhere else to stay. I genuinely, when I say this, I genuinely don't understand it. I'm trying to understand it. I don't think I want to understand it. If I do understand it, I can teach on it a little bit more. And I think I can come up with theories, but I've literally had conversations with my friends, and I watched them even when I wasn't saved. And honestly, this is a true story. When I wasn't saved, I used to look at my friends when they were crying over a dude, and I used to sit there and look at them like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I used to look at them and I don't understand. Didn't you say he cheated on you and hit you and he bit you on the forehead? Oh wow, Sister Kenya. Yeah, God protected you. You didn't you say he headbutted you, bit you on the forehead, dragged you out in the middle of traffic and left you for dead? How is it that you are upset that he got married to somebody else? How I don't understand it. I genuinely I have I follow some groups on Facebook, and I don't go into these groups, but occasionally it'll come up on the top of my timeline. Sorry, it's probably gonna start talking because I pressed this thing. But I follow some groups on Facebook, and I've yet to I've seen women post up like blast. I'm talking about groups about narcissism. I found groups about narcissism, and where the woman is talking about the ex, and she'll say, "Oh, that monkey of a crackhead called me, and he was talking to me, and he was trying to make me think he was gonna be back to me, but I found out that he with somebody else. He just," and I'm like, why would you talking to him? You still want this dude? Why you put him on blast? I don't understand. I don't understand it. How is it that you're jealous of somebody who's in a relationship with a weapon that was formed against you that did not prosper? See, people close out when you talk like that. How? You got to make it make sense. You got to make it make sense, not to me, but to yourself. I'm not going to look at somebody that tried to break me and say, "You with somebody else now, and you going to break her." No. Now, I'm not saying when you initially come out of a relationship, you're not going to grieve. You're grieving the soul tie. You're also grieving the plans. You're grieving the beliefs. You're grieving all of those things. That's okay. But there should be a stage where you have already gone through the 7 stages of grief. And one of the things I've learned in studying the 7 stages of grief is that the average person doesn't go all the way through them, especially a lot of baby mamas. Right. It's like going gaining weight from McDonald's and still pulling up to the drive-through. It's crazy. A lot of you got children and you have yet to let go of your ex. And this is what's blocking your husband because you keep taking your ex to court. You're obsessing over his life. You're monitoring spirit in his life. You won't let go and trust God because you haven't grieved your plans and you're still angry with him because you feel like he ruined your plans. So you keep trying to punish him. You want to crucify him for hurting you. And you're blocking yourself. You're blocking what God wants to do in your life. Because you're mad that the sin did not turn into a blessing. That's like planting a onion seed and getting mad that onions grew. You will reap what you sow. What's that? Those be onions. I knew I planted an onion seed because that's all I had at that season. But I lay hands on the ground. You get a boy, and I lay hands on the ground, and I thought that strawberries were gonna grow. How is it that onions grew? Make it make sense. Go back to bed. I can't make that make sense for you. Nobody can make it make sense. You just like every other leader. You judgmental. That's why I don't even go to church. You lie. You don't go to church because you don't want God. People go to hollering at you. Don't go to church because you don't want God. They ain't nothing to do with Christians. I can go to church and worship the Lord, and I ain't got to be worried about other people. Now, my assignment is to help. If I see somebody that's broken, I don't judge them because I may be there to pray for them. or to be a light. So you're telling me that you won't go to church and be a light in the area where you've been delivered because you don't like the darkness that you see in other people. Sister Regina, thank you. God bless you. That's why I don't go to church. No, you don't go to church because you don't want the Lord. How often do you read your Bible? I mean, I haven't been consistent, but I read it. Tell the truth. You ain't read that Bible since 1988. You're planting seeds and getting mad at what grows up. And that's insanity. You're planting these seeds and saying, how is it that I'm growing onions? Right, I love onion rings. I planted onions and I was thinking that I was going to get strawberries. Well, my onions don't come, but I laid hands on it and I had faith. I even treated the ground like you treat it when you know, for strawberries, because you do different or what have you. So I missed a couple of days of watering and stuff like that, because you got to water it all the time for an onion. I don't know this, guys. This is just me making up something. But you got to water it all the time for an onion. But for strawberries, you ain't got to put that much water. So I was not going out there putting water around. I was doing it, but it rained. But it's still. I did everything I was supposed to do. And I prayed. I got my sisters to stand in agreement with me that it would turn into a strawberry, a bushel of strawberries. Now I got onions. And I don't even like onions. You can put it on steak. I'm a vegan. No, okay. So I'm just leaving the church. I don't know. My faith has been challenged. Milo says, time to get off of here. My faith has been challenged. I don't know if I believe. And then I'm leaving that church. The favoritism is this, is that. Why are you there worried about the favoritism? Why don't you just go there and worship the Lord and grow? Why are you looking at people and wanting relationships with people? Oh, I know I'm hitting some of y'all in the jugular. Why are you looking at them? It's just too much. Take your eyes off them. I don't care who hanging out or who hooking up. It ain't none of my business. I'm going to worship the Lord, to learn, to be a blessing, and go home. I just don't understand. Go back to bed. You should not be triggered when your exes are blessed. Or even if they are blessed, because sometimes it ain't a blessing. Sometimes they be married and get in a relationship with judgment, but you shouldn't be happy about that either. So in short, guys, come out of idolatry. God will bring your spouse in. There is this phrase or these two words that I want you to write down somewhere. There's this thing called due season. In due season, when God sees that you're ready, if you hide in him, he will hide you. In due season, God hides you. In due season, God will highlight you, where you'll be in the midst of people, but God will make you hidden so that the wrong people can't see you and only the right people. Now, you can come outside the will of God with people. Doesn't mean that people won't ask for your phone number, the right person, wrong people. It doesn't mean none of that. You get on the phone with them, you better test that spirit. And the minute you realize that he ain't the one, you better go ahead and end that. Because see, sometimes we get caught up in the fact that we're being pursued and we don't want to end that. I ain't been pursued in so many years and I don't want to end it. I want to keep on being pursued. I do. I like it. It makes me feel wanted. I know that's a great feeling. It's a beautiful feeling. But you know what? Stop sitting there and pacifying that feeling. If he ain't the one, let him go. Stop talking to that dude on the phone. Stop letting him park in your husband's parking place. Because as long as that parking space is filled, then your husband can't park. You entertaining somebody else's husband or somebody else's problem. You're entertaining somebody else's husband or somebody else's problem. All because you want the attention of a male figure. All because you want the attention of a male figure. And the next thing you know, you find yourself being delayed. All right. Anyhow, I love you guys. I'm going to be coming back on tomorrow, Sunday, after church. Probably after church, or I may come back tomorrow night. If I don't, I'll be here Monday. But I'm planning to come back tomorrow, God willing. And I will be talking to you again. I think I'm talking on poverty tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm going to make sure. But be sure to tune in for that because I want to help you guys to break some stuff. And I'm also going to be allowing entrance or allowing registration for Esther Prep University. We are going to start our monthly mentorship option as well. And within the monthly membership option, you will have the opportunity to register per month. And we're going to be doing, for example, like a month on teaching on one thing. And that I want to help you to, prepare for whatever season you're in. And it's not just centered around marriage. So don't come in there thinking I'm going to be talking about men all the time. One of the things I believe in is building up women to be great in every area of life, to come against those emotions, to come against that temptation to quit, to come against all of those things. And one of the ways that I have to do that, and I want you to hear me, and I want you to hear me clearly, is I have to starve your expectations. I have to starve your expectations. So don't come in there with unrealistic expectations. Come in there saying, whatever God do, God, you do it. I trust you. I love you. And so you can register now. Quarterly it's going to be more affordable. Yearly is even more affordable, but we will have a monthly option as well, because it is an affordable option for a person that can't afford quarterly membership. But we're going to start off. I think we're kicking it off. I'm going to be dealing with temptation. I'm going to be doing about 3 to 4 weeks on temptation, helping you to overcome temptation. Helping you to overcome temptation. I'm going to go into the depths and the bellies of temptation. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to tell you how to register for that. And then that's it. That's it. I love you guys. I hope that you were blessed by this. And I look forward to speaking with you again. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Love you. She posted up the information for the mentorship program. And listen, if you want to sow a seed, if you were blessed by this, definitely sow a seed. I'll give her a chance to put up the Cash App and everything like that. You don't have to sow a seed, so don't nobody get offended if you don't want to sow, but don't get mad at the people that do want to sow, because I do get messages from people saying, how do I sow a seed? So I want to make sure to extend the opportunity. If you're not one of those people, then just take it for a grain of salt. Don't take offense to it. But post up the Cash App and the PayPal so they can know how to sow for those who want to sow. If this was something that was a blessing to you, Sister Kelly posted it up, and I look forward to talking to you again. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.